break down?
But yeah, it's starting to break down right now. It's breaking trend as well. I mean, the whole market's breaking trend as of right now on that news. Yeah, we'll wait and see. More continuation. And people are asking, where is that news coming from? It's the Israeli Broadcasting Authority that just said that negotiations between the U.S. and Iran are not progressing positively, and the market's catching a bit of a sell on said news there. So increase in volume, break of trend as well. And again, we were observing a break of trend a little bit earlier as well, and now follow through coming in on the news as well. Yeah, Ramin saying that Trump was saying some things a little bit earlier there, but
regarding Ukraine.
Yeah, so
if Ukraine doesn't
halt weapon supplies to Ukraine unless Europe joins the Hormuz coalition.
So there you go. That wouldn't be good for Ukraine. I feel like they're strapped already, so I don't know how much you really want these guys to do at this point, but they got to get it figured out. You have all the Gulf countries that can essentially fortify the Strait of Hormuz. You have other countries as well, too. Joy short could be good. Now, Bailey Buttons, we've been short, my friend, from, it's that time. It's 14:01. We can continue to ramble on.
Boy.
There's a lot of news going on. Yeah. We had the short on the TQQQs. We re-engaged. It's continuing to slide. We give up the majority of today's grinding bid. You just had to be patient. And we are fortunate enough to be sitting in a newsline sensitive market as it continues to move lower, still positive 2% plus here on the NASDAQ and the SPY. Obi, 30-second trade review. Give it to him before we send it off.
So today, what did I get involved with? You guys see the Micron initial short didn't really work out. Secondary short working out now. Confluence with news just got into a bit of Google as well. And then MRVL. I don't know what this one's up to, but oh boy, look at that. That's coming in now as well. 107s. I was involved earlier around 106s, 105s as well. But it continued to extend above 107, so I got stopped out on that one. But everything's looking like it's coming in right now. Wow, this Micron might actually get to that VWAP. I talked about a 50% retracement. Guess what? 50% retracement coming in right here on the NASDAQ and the ES as well. So decent look indeed. And always when you got that confluence with some news, when the price action comes in, it's always a good bonus there as well. So yeah, thank you guys for joining us here on the midday. But it seems like things are just heating up. They're probably going to continue to heat up. Watch out for that note that we heard about coming out from the Iranian president as well. That's going to be within the hour. Great shorts there on the TQs.
One last time there, Assassino. Bang.
Absolutely
man, we're short up here. Straight pure. Bang. Full position reload right back down there, and then all the way to the downside. As talks not typically going as planned. I think I had a little bit of an assumption of that. Now the market giving back the majority of today's session. With that being said, we don't want to take up any more time for the boys because we know Katina Man's had a banger of a trade. He's short Palantir as well too. So a lot going on over at the big desk. Once again, joining me tomorrow is going to be the Jedi Master himself, Obi. He is the one Kenobi. Looking forward to another solid session of trading. Let's see if we can turn things around. For myself, anyways, don't know quite how you're doing on the session. I have no doubt in my mind that we'll have the ability to do so. Putting on the right trades, being patient, getting out what we're supposed to, allowing us to re-engage on multiple opportunities. That's the nature of the beast, is no matter how frustrated you may get.
Yes, sir.
Bang.
Great session. See you guys tomorrow.
What's up, everybody? Thank you, Joe, Obi, and all for a great show right there. We were actually long on Palantir and then flipped over into the short. We heard that story and but forget about this, man. It went multiple shorts, boom, 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 boom. We're going to hold the short against Palantir until we break up, back up above this 147.50. I mean, talk's not going well. Plus, tonight you have President Trump in front of the nation. Let's go right now. All right, man, nice trade back down into 146 as we take 50 cents right there on that one. And we will get stopped. Microsoft, whatever, man. I mean, we got this fill in the middle of the day. Was holding just a baby to see what winds up happening now. But yeah, so far so good. Welcome back to the jungle, everybody. I mean, if we can get 371 here on Microsoft, I think we'll just stop out of that one. Things have changed, right? And I think that's one thing that we all have to understand and realize about these markets, right? 1 minute you're going to be thinking long, the next minute you're going to be thinking short. But as long as your trade is sort of planned out, I think that's where all the victory comes out from. Neil and I will take you here into the close. And I'm not sure how much volume we're actually expecting here today, especially the fact that tomorrow, Thursday, will be the last day of the week. Good Friday is off. So happy Easter to everybody and Good Friday. If we don't see you tomorrow, you know, join us here until 4 o'clock. Not many earnings or anything coming through here again either this afternoon, but we'll talk all about those names that reported. Nike reported yesterday. They are downside here as well. Today they were down 11%, now down 14.5%. And, you know, sometimes when things get bad, they just kind of get worse. And even though the NASDAQ and the ES both up right here, both up greater than 1%. Well, the ES just lost that level, but you're still up nicely today. And it just goes to show you that earnings can sometimes be part of the story. All right, let's go ahead now and discuss, you know, most of the time you're looking at trades and you're thinking, what trade am I going to take next, right? It's very, very important to understand one thing though. What about why I don't take a trade? What is the reasoning behind looking at something and staying away from it? Let's go over to the screen and talk to my man, Neil.
Sometimes cash is a position, and the best trade you make in a day can be the one that you don't take. This morning, I had my note that if we didn't break out the high on IBIT and Bitcoin couldn't break 69K, I was gonna look for the fade. Now you can see right off the bat at the open, we're actually heading to the downside. Right in here, that's at 9:30 at the open. We head down, and my usual setup is pop and fade, you fail the opening high, you short at VWAP. You're gonna notice here that I did not short in front of VWAP. In fact, I went long. And it has to do with the wipeout liquidity volume that happens. So we pull back in right into where the close was, and that's where we catch that bid. And all of a sudden you're consolidating, forming a wedge pattern, holding underneath and not at VWAP, but underneath VWAP. So suddenly, at the moment where I'm thinking, okay, it's a short in front of VWAP, it's making a trend break after a wipeout bottom. That's a classic reversal setup. You throw in the fact that the market at that point was looking strong. The NASDAQ was going higher. Tech, everything was in the midst of a relief rally. And you have a situation here where, okay, fine, I went long, but you certainly didn't want to be shorting in the face of that. The sentiment was against you. It flashed a long reversal setup. So why would I be married to the short idea just because I wrote it down? The situation had changed. That opening volume, that opening trend, and that opening information told me to stay away from it. Thankfully, the long was there. But the most important thing is that we didn't take the trade in the first place.
And I think that's what we need to talk about, right, is what are the catalysts standing behind why you would make a trade? Is it going to be news in the pre-market? Is there going to be a merger? Is there going to be continuation potentially from yesterday? And I actually want to talk about Oracle as well as a possible example here. You know, does the structure set up properly? You know, you can go back every single morning. I sit down here between, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, live with everybody at Trader TV. And I'm like, what is setting up? And we have the sticky note. We write down things that we believe are setting up. But there was multiple times where today we wound up not taking the trade. And I actually had written down here, Oracle for a long, one of my initial looks. But you know what, guys? It didn't set up. It looked great in the pre-market, but then once the market opened up, we got a little bit of a flush, which made me change my mind. Let's go over to Neil one more time and have a look at the Oracle chart and see maybe what that looked like.
Oh, I think this is a great example as well, Sean. That's an example of a day saver right here for a couple of reasons. First off, if you're looking for the long in this situation, has it not happened in the pre-market? Like if you're looking at Oracle, you got 148 to 151. Now that's a couple of percentage points, and then you've already made a peak well before the open, like a half an hour before the open happens, you've made that high when you've been in an upward trend. And then suddenly it's lower high, and then the classic reversal candle, fail the top, and then drop. And the other thing to keep in mind here, when we talk about trade, you should always be thinking about risk to reward. Even if you're looking for some kind of a long, as it's trying to hold that support, think about the gap here. Pre-market, great move, but you have a gap from the prior close up to that 150 where it was at the open. You're talking about a clean $3 gap. And look, all gaps don't end up getting filled in, but that's something that you should factor into your trade. Now, Oracle in this case, if you're going to take it against the grain, maybe you'd want it to have some ridiculous catalyst, but that wasn't really the case here. You know, if you have a small minor story and the move has been put in, it flashes a pretty decent sell signal. And no one's forcing you to sit on the bid when there's a trade that happens at a price or it gets to your price. You're allowed to observe the price action when it gets there. And if it's a free fall and there's a huge gap to be filled, then maybe wait for an opportunity to go long. Because if you wanted to go long and you had some patience, you eventually got a rounded bottom where you could have scalped into VWAP. That was there for you, but that requires patience and especially knowing when not to catch a falling knife, when not to get into a trade. This one was mostly the big time downside with the gap fill, but also just a pure momentum. Dead on about that, Sean. That's how you save your day.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think the big thing there is the risk reward. Understand, you know, the momentum behind the trade. Try to figure out, you know, if there is a catalyst, as you just mentioned in the pre-market. Are the futures potentially, if you're going to look at a name like Oracle or IBIT, what is the NASDAQ doing? What is the S&P 500 doing? And then make your decision there. Because look, an informed trader, a prepared trader, those are the best kinds, and know when you're potentially in danger, when to take a trade, when not to take a trade. I think that's the most important. Risk to reward. Be confident, be happy, and thanks for listening to that risk versus reward trade setup. Okay, yeah, look, I mean, I think today we just made a quick example there. I mean, I know we talked about Oracle, obviously, and I just wanted to show you same sort of a thought. That was the initial trade that we had thought about for Oracle at 148. But with that action there in the pre-market, and Neil's back here, so I think you guys like that segment. That's good. We're going to do some more weatherman type stuff like that moving forward. But yeah, it's just when you're in the pre-market here and we're seeing Oracle with the momentum from yesterday and it kicking off today, but then just look like it was just bleeding down pretty much all pre-market. Now, there's news that's happening here with oil, with President Trump, and so on and so forth. But then there is the open right there at 9:30, and then just continuation. So to sit around at 148 and catch that falling knife, we sort of talked about that. That's never a good idea. So that was something that I used to do. And the next thing you know, like, you know, I'll put in like maybe 500 shares, or doesn't matter the share size, and the next thing you know, you're down like $150 or whatever when it breaks. And then you're like, oh man, you automatically right away start with that revenge trading idea. And you don't ever want to be thinking about like, oh my God, my first trade was a red one, so my next one needs to be green. Because the minute you start putting that much pressure on yourself, it's just, it's not going to work. And we've seen so many examples where that has happened, of course. And it's just, all of a sudden, it's like, just snowballs, you know, like one good trade or one bad trade, then you start throwing good money after bad, and then it's just like, oh my gosh, what have I done?
What's the line? Yeah, that's the line.
Yeah, you don't want to throw
good money after.
Yeah, I used to always screw that up, but now I'm better. Yeah, you never want to throw good money after bad. So you make one bad trade, and it's like, can I get away from it? And the answer is yes. And I mean, look what just happened here, right? I'll show you an example right now, real time, of me flipping this whole trade on its head. We were long Palantir on VWAP. I bought 75s there as well. So we had an average price of about 82 or 83. And it's funny because we could have got out. I was sitting here thinking like, oh, I should be maybe getting some out here. We're not popping. And then all of a sudden, boom, the story comes out there that potentially no to any sort of peace talks, and they're not going over well in Iran. So that was a problem. And you can see the market react to that, right? And so what I was able to do was just, here, I'll zoom in, flip into the, so we get stopped out there at 50 and just immediately flip short, right? Will it work? We'll see. But we're in it right now looking for a bid, and we just caught it a couple times. So we got a couple bids down here. Our best one's at O's. Our next best one's there is in the 25 area. So right here, we'll see if we can get lower on Palantir, but never get stuck with tunnel vision, I think is a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
You know, because the next thing you know, and on Microsoft, maybe a little different earlier, someone just said, could I explain why I revenge traded this? Didn't revenge trade this. I'm out of Microsoft. I do have a small, this is still the same fill. 368.50. Oh, Rob had some things there. I think you might took them off your desk. Yeah, no, this just came in. And why we liked Microsoft today is this move down. We took a small piece here at 371 ahead of 370. That was basically the whole trade. When it blew up, it was good, it was good, it was good, until it wasn't. Then we took a bid at 370.50. Once it lost 370, we got out. Then all of a sudden, honestly, it was bleeding down. We were looking at the IGV. By this time, it was 950. On a 5-minute chart, we had a couple double bottoms being made there. So I just trusted it against this level. And it paid off. Like this trade is actually going to be the biggest one well, obviously, the biggest one for me here today. And, you know, the stop on this was 368. So we gave ourselves 50 cents worth of room to cash out on the top, $5. So, you know, those are the kind of trades that I'm trying to, by the way, we just got Palantir. That's another one as we continue to ride the bear. The sticky note today, though, was just on fire. I mean, talk about trying to follow your plan. Now, we got stuck in Microsoft, and I've already said, Joe, man, don't worry about your algos. Just make me one, and we can all of a sudden just put in here the sticky note trading. This is, look at the long we had on, I can't, like, I wish I could make this up, but 374 area on Tesla was the area that we were looking to get long on. These bottoms were 374 over and over and over again. Between 9:45 and 10:15, give you a half hour of those bottoms. Unfortunately, my focus was obviously on softy, but could have had that. And by the way, Palantir entering the dollar club again. Right there, multiple dollars taken out of this market today. When we're gonna lose like this, and when we're gonna win like that. So that's the kind of trading that we're trying to do. And yeah, I just hope everybody enjoyed those lessons there. And that's the most important thing, is to take.
You get something out of it.
Oh, no, not that. No, but I mean, just that lesson. Understand like when you're taking those trades. Well, you know, and if they're the appropriate ones.
I'll be honest with you. For a lot of traders, and we'll get to some business in a second. Yeah. A lot of traders, it's like if they could have just not taken one trade. So many over the years. It's like on this one day, it's like this guy, if this dude didn't just take that trade, everything else would have been fine.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes there were actually reasons that you shouldn't have done it. But really, great story here, because we're seeing some updates out of Origenics. And that's OGN on the NYSE American. They've activated its phase 2A clinical trial in Australia, with its first site fully operational, and patient dosing is expected next.
Boom.
They're developing ONP-002, an intranasal treatment targeting concussion and mild traumatic brain injury, an area where there are currently no FDA-approved therapies. Alongside that, Origenics has spent the past year strengthening its balance sheet, raising capital, resolving liabilities, and restoring exchange compliance. The focus now shifts to execution, with clinical progress underway and additional CNS assets under evaluation. That's OGEN over on the night.
OGEN.
You know what? Like this is not really.
They're back.
This is just all being serious. Like literally yesterday, we were talking about this, and I was saying like my only time in the Dominican, I suffered a concussion.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I was completely unaware that it had happened. I was doing all the things to stay away from light. I didn't know, so I didn't know what I should have been doing. It wasn't properly diagnosed, and again, I was fortunate. Like it was only like a one-off kind of thing, but it's such a great story. I always say, if you're trying to solve a problem in the world, take a chance, create a company, and make the world a better place. And you know, if the company's successful, you've also done a good thing. So shout out to them for sure. While we were doing that, apparently, well, whatever. The headline happened. And I'll look for a re-entry into BMNR, but I was in a trend trade. Well, WBD is technically a trend trade as well. Like it broke a trend line, but a lot of things probably just broke a trend line because of this news, if we're being honest about it. And then I got out VWAP. I actually didn't even hear the story until after the fact, but I think now I look at the volume weighted average price and say any pop, we're gonna go into that. I also took, every now and then, I'll say that these other things will do trend breaks as well. And that's kind of an easy one into the volume-weighted average price. But I'm starting to think about IBIT. And we were talking about that earlier, like why not take the long? 60. This is broken. And broken in a way that what's the best way to think about this for IBIT?
Spit it out.
Like it's just, there's a lot of things that recover, and we think when it's risk on, we should be, like a lot broke out today before we reversed. IBIT, okay, there was a good long into the high, but it just rejected again. It rejected a lower high locally. It rejected this trend line. We're right back to 68,000 on Bitcoin. I just feel like this, even when it's good, it's just not good enough. Over here in crypto land. And for the record, I was saying this morning too, like if things completely turned around, I'd want to take some shots at BMNR, which is already given up all of its gains for the second time today. And I think there's a reason you could continue. And we'll talk about energy. But the interesting thing I find right now is, okay, well, we just had that pullback. USO didn't even go that far. USO was $1.50 higher in the morning than where we are now, and the market's puking. Yeah, well, what happens if we take out these highs? Ask yourself that.
Yeah, I think people have already sort of come to the idea that, you know, oil's just going higher. Like, I mean, and right now I think there's a lot of focus, obviously here as we look at it, on the NASDAQ, right? I mean, and just on the overall market, because we've had some nice bounces on the day. And so just being able to sell some of the winners, I think that potentially what's happening. I mean, I don't think people are nervous enough to really, you know, dump their positions, but definitely swing traders and things like that. And I just think heading into what tonight means for President Trump, right? I mean, you know, how is the nation, what's that going to sound like when he tells everybody, you know, they're not any further on this war potentially than they were a couple weeks ago as far as a resolve? I mean, obviously the damage has been done there. He talked about the bunker busters and just everything. I actually don't even really want to talk too much. Like, we don't know other than the fact that they've told us that they're taking out some of the military targets that they had there in Iran, and Iran's just answering back and saying, well, so what? You know, we know that we're still going to fire these drones and we're still going to attack anybody in the Middle East that has an association with the United States, or, you know, whether or not that be. We saw Amazon today get hit over in the in Bahrain there, and in Dubai as well, with some of their servers being attacked. So, you know, Amazon can just brush that off. I mean,
well, it's not doing it right now.
Well, no, the whole market
the company can. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So I think there's just the worry is in the general market right now. Like, you're going to get, I honestly, like, and I haven't done this yet. I mean, I just talked about Amazon now. I almost feel like every stock is going to look like this right now. I mean, if there's a stock that has sort of an iron clad around it, I mean, I would have thought, which is kind of why I went long Palantir initially, was I just thought, okay, you know what, like wartime talk, probably okay for Palantir, but no, man, they're getting hit with the market as well.
AVAV was up this morning on a somewhat positive news story.
They had they got a deal.
Right back at the lows. So defense names aren't even holding up in this situation.
Is it not
they're
good?
Getting smoked. It's travel names.
Well, travel names are to be expected, I think. Like, it's just very risky to travel. I mean, especially the thing is to...
Yet,
AAL's
AAL
up.
hasn't gone? Okay. Well, no. This is that's
AAL. Well, no, there must be other stories. I mean,
maybe
some of
there's
these
an AAL.
they are getting. So the only thing about AAL to me is that the market is forward looking.
Yeah, and they're like, this is not going to last long enough.
Right, and like, where do they think that the gas reserves that they have, or the oil reserves at a Delta or Southwest?
Delta has fallen. I'm actually thinking AAL. That now looks like a catch-up trade. Why does one have to be on the NASDAQ and the other on the New York? Can't you just have the entire sector on the same market? Let them all either be on the New York or the NASDAQ, just to make it simple for me and for no other reason. Anyways, it doesn't matter. No, I'm thinking here, unless I can find a specific story why I like AAL more, this breaks trend. I'm going short. Everything else is going down. Delta is going down. What about the Jets ETF? If the Jets ETF, and maybe Delta is the only one that was falling, and I'm wrong about this.
What?
Did you see that? It hit Jets, it started loading it, and then it stopped.
Oh, because you thought you meant the New York Jets, so it's just like, no.
Goodness. And it's under VWAP. Yeah, AAL might be relatively strong, but bump that. If it breaks a trend, I'm going to try the short here. But it's got a trend line.
Are you short anything? Okay, Warner Brothers, who cares really? And that's not a stock against the market, but I do know what I do know what your plan is with there.
Well, it's one of these.
You want to try to always buy it, I thought.
No, I do. I 100% always try to buy it. But today, it did one of these. I tried a trend break once, and then it rolled over and played another break here and gave it to the high. It's just one of those, like, you sit in the short if it breaks the high, and then otherwise I just played into VWAP. It does it plenty of times. You get these reversions, but you are right. Like, my general sense what I usually want to be doing is if it does move like this and then it gives you a premium, I missed this morning, but it was gap down after a strong day because I think it's a $31 deal. I think there's some value there. So anytime it looks like it's too cheap in the morning, I would have wanted to buy it. And this isn't a revenge trade that I didn't get the long this morning. Obviously that would have been nice. It's just a trend break. It's the whole idea that the types of trades you use can go from one style of stock to another. We got Son of Daniel Cheese Tycoon. Thank you for the super chat.
All over the place.
I know, but sometimes we appreciate the super chats.
How is the cheese market?
Make sure we focus on the cheese dispenser business, okay? European defense names have been ripping ever since Trump started threatening to leave NATO. That's right. They're going to have, if they have to defend themselves. Well, I mean, I guess technically they kind of do already, but to a greater extent, then what has to happen? They're going to have to spend. Military spending, in the long run, only goes in one direction. And I will believe, it's one of those things that I wish was not true, but it is true. And it doesn't matter what you want, it's what is actually happening in the world. So I think that's a good call. I mean, obviously the European markets are closed. Yeah, the European market. Yeah. I'm trying to think of, is there any dual listed European?
We had Embra Air, but they're Brazilian. That's just an airline there. What, defense stocks? I mean,
specifically European defense.
I don't know. Who put that Daniel Son of Cheese Tycoon? Maybe he can put in there what stocks he means. Because I know, like, we have LMT, we have Raytheon.
I know ours. Well, American.
You know, yeah, those are American. I don't know any European ones myself, of course, because never looking over at the European.
Oh shoot, there was a good question.
Probably should be looking over there.
Someone asked right before we were
coming on. Check out some more Palantir, by the way.
It was what's a good ETF to hide in? And oops, I'm still looking at this AL because it just did this. It just broke the trend line. So this is a close. It's good enough. I'll pop in, give it to the prior bar. But it was like, where's a good place to hide? And I was sort of thinking about like where in Canada. There's an ETF called like the IEX in Canada, which is, I don't want to call it a hideout, but it's like 30% financials and like 30-something% energy. And it's a dividend ETF. But because of 2/3 of it, and financials is different in Canada than it is the US. Because in Canada, let's just say the banks are more stable fundamentally because it's basically monopoly. And then there's so many energy stocks in Canada that you get this notion of getting that hedge with a lot of energy. But it brings me to, historically, XLE has not been a bad mix to have, just in a general sense. In most of the worst times where you're freaking out, not all the time, but a lot of the worst times and worst years for the S&P, XLE tends to do pretty well, and then you get a dividend out of it. So I think that's usually an answer. I'm sure if you dig far enough, you can find a couple of other defensive sectors, and then maybe there's an ETF that gets you a bit of a mix, like the one that I have in Canada, where it's not all energy. But the problem with US financials is it's not, like the XLF isn't the safe haven that holding Canadian banks is. So I'm not sure what the equivalent in that regard would be. But the XLE is not a horrible place to be. During wartime is obviously a little bit more fluctuations. But you've seen here, as USO goes up and the market continues to go down, it's not a bad way to sort of hedge.
Yeah, no, yeah, I mean, yeah, XLF, I mean, I think the financials can be away from this Iran situation as well. There's also cash accounts, you know, most accounts, if you just go into cash, if you're on your broker, you'll get like a couple percentage points, 3 or 4% or something like that. You're gonna have to pay tax on it, so it's not, at the end of the day, you're not gonna make that much money, but it's not losing anything, and that could be a situation there as well. If it's your
retirement account, or if it's your TFSA, that's...
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's easy for us to give our opinions, but I mean, at the end of the day, you guys got to discuss, like,
you got to figure it.
Yeah, you got to judge, like, where are you in your investing life cycle? You know, like when I'm going to be retired in a couple of years, you know, I got to make sure that I have this money sitting around somewhere, you know, and don't want to lose it all. Like if you're sitting on $2 million nest egg, or that's another question is, what do you think is necessary, I wonder, on what you need to actually retire, right? And I think that that's another thing where you got to figure, wow.
Where do you live?
Yeah, exactly. What do your expenses look like? What style of, you know, lifestyle are you trying to have in retirement? You know, what's your healthcare situation, your insurance situation? There's so many different things right there, but I think cash is a good position right now. I wouldn't be 100% in cash because, you know, the last couple of days we've had a decent bump higher. I mean, even if you look at the SPY, This is why I think that's a great question. I think it's very timely too. Like, you know, where can we go to try to get, you know, maybe still some, you know, some delta back to the upside here if the market does go, but where can we go that if the market continues to flush down, that we don't experience this kind of either a head fake where you sell at the bottom? I mean, I was talking with some guys in the back there. They did sell some near the bottom because they panic, and we talked about that. Especially a good example was the tariffs. You know, if you're going to go back and look to see how many people sold last April, I mean, we're coming up to that day right now, almost a year ago, right? That top to bottom move, though, was only 9%. Look, I mean, if you're in at the top, everything, okay? So you're in at the top, everything, all right? $1 million, like your whole account, $1,000, doesn't matter. You know, like you lost 9% to the very bottom. If 9% is going to make you throw up, you know, be in a bad mood, something like that for an extended period of time, please do not buy back. Do not come back to this market with such vengeance, right?
Or don't manage your own account. Let someone else.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, you know, because you have to understand it, and I could ask Perplexity this or whatever. There's multiple times in a year where the stock market will drop 10%. You know, 20% is not unheard of. That's actually common if you go back. So, you know, the fact that you're part of a move like that, fine. You know, but the stat also still holds. If you always bought the market at highs, you've done amazing. So all you got to do is sometimes plug that nose.
Jump in the water. Don't
take margin, you know. Don't over lever into something, because if you do that, then all of a sudden that 9% becomes 18%, and then you got to borrow. You've borrowed money. You could get margin called. I don't know what the story is going to be, but it's not going to end well. And I think that's why we all fear, you know, something like MSTR here with strategy. And we just worry that, hey, I mean, Saylor's come out, and I don't know, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, if you've heard something, Neil, or everybody in the chat, but like, he said he's never going to be liquidated. You know, and never is a strong word, but, you know, it's not 64,000.
He said something to that effect.
Yeah, it's not 58,000. There was no like magical number where he said, right? But if all of a sudden you come in one day and Bitcoin's down $30,000 or something like that, or down to 30,000 or whatever, a dramatic move overnight, you can bet that this guy probably, you know, got liquidated.
Well, also remember, Michael Saylor gonna be all right.
Oh, he could be all right. I mean, he on a couple yachts.
He's gonna be all right.
Sharif's on his yacht right now.
Gonna be all right.
Well, that's why they do this.
If you're all in, like we're talking about the market here. Like if the S&P goes down 80, some stocks are down 40, 80%. If the S&P goes down 80%, then we have the right to freak out. Yeah. But if individual stocks go down that far, it's a very different story. Look at all the scary dips. I'm pulling up a 3-month of the SPY just to make it simple. Look at all the scariest dips. And what do they look like in retrospect? Exactly when, it doesn't matter when you're getting in, but like if you bought this when it broke the high and didn't get the dip, are you crying being long 485 in the SPY? If you missed this dip, were you crying taking when it broke back the high at 615? Neither of those have been retraced. When we dipped in COVID, right, and you missed it at 250, are you crying if you bought the breakout at 340? Like, you missed a 20% drawback, but when it broke that top, it never came back. When we draw down, break that top, never came back. Like, sometimes you will. Like, sometimes you will retake a high, and historically it has happened before. But look, and then the big double top in here. This is the one where, you know, when you're looking at 2013, when you broke the double top, Bitcoin's had those types of moments. I'm not saying it'll never happen again. But it's very different when you're looking at the overall market. Speaking of the overall market, USO, oil, USO, same thing. It's 230, right? So I guess the NYMEX markets, they'll be closing right now. And it's closing at or adjacent to the highs. So we're pretty much, I'd say, like $1, less than $1 away from the triple top right in here in USO. I'm just going to double check. One of the things that this morning, which kind of led me to Boyle, right, I wasn't at the desk, of course, was that it was relatively weak compared to USO, and it still is. It's only getting back to VWAP. So if this triple top somehow magically manifests itself in turning around here, then I think this under VWAP will make sense for a bit of a short trade going into this afternoon. But as Sean said, tomorrow's going to be a holiday. It's a holiday shortened week, so you might see lighter volume. Also means that we could fall faster. That it works in both ways. But I don't know if there's going to be anything that makes us hard reverse without volume. Because when you don't have a lot of volume, you tend to just drift as opposed to have those sharp reversals back and forth. So if we're going to continue falling, that's why I was looking at something that hadn't gone yet. And if oil continues to go higher, just taking the break. Oddly enough, this is weird. Like this did pop down into VWAP, and I thought I was bidding VWAP, but apparently I was bidding underneath VWAP. And it bounced on following weighted average price. So I didn't actually get filled there on AAL, but it is still holding the trend line in the other direction. So yeah, I feel like if oil gets to the high, why would AAL not do what everything else in the Jets did? That's another way. Like if everything in the ETF falls and this hasn't fallen yet, kind of worth a shot.
Yeah, it might be something up with that.
But there might be a story there too.
I just bid out of some more Palantir, man. Right now I have 40% left, so all the way to the downside. We'll see. Was debating just getting out of this at 146.15 or so right here. If it does, get back into this area. We're $1 in the money now, and we're just taking out some profit as it comes back in. We actually emptied out pretty much most of it right around this 145.50 for the dollar. But now it's starting to. I'm gonna put out one more piece here, low 40s, and see if we get that. Bidding 42s right now on PLTR. So SST, some talk about that in the chat. What up, everybody? Yeah, this is System 1. This is another runner. Today, up 75% is SST System 1. So nice move higher there. I can go double check to see what the story is. SST, as we do not have a DARA here today. Lower on company reporting Q4 sales on March 12th. So no, nothing.
There's a story on Monday.
Okay. Oh yeah. I'm short, my guy. We're short here. But for SST right now, this is, again, nice mover here. 12 million shares on the day. If we look over and we go into the details of said stock, that's SoFi. What's up, SoFi, you piece of great stock? SST rate, ST, there it is. All right, let's go over to the overview quickly and just see what's going on here. So a short float of 250,000 shares, not bad. Short float percentage is 8% right there. So float of just 3 million shares for SST, creating a higher bid. So you've already turned the float over 4 times with 12 million shares so far on SST. But yeah, this has memory, so we can go back and have a quick look. There's that break of 450. Yeah, got us into 550 there today. Looks like we did a reverse split or so from here, 58 cents up to $4. So you go, I don't know what it was there. Maybe it was 10 to 1 and we just fell that day. But then there's the move up on the reverse split, so no surprise there. So we're not considering this move as potential now because that's a split move. All you can do is look back and look at this level, but our charts do not.
I have an E-signal weekly up.
That was going to show you because, yeah, it's not healthy looking stock.
Oh, this is about as bad as it gets. Because this is not, like there's a split here, but this was over a hundo. So this is literally trying to claw its way back from the dead. I'm not saying it never happens, but.
You want to try USO short?
Carvana is I can't think of, I have one example in my entire trading or my entire adult life of a company that was ever this bad, where it was like from huge highs to basically people are calling it dead and it's either penny stock or under $5, and then it somehow makes it all the way back. The only company that I can think of that did that was Carvana. And if there's something else, if someone else has another...
I don't think Carvana ever split or anything like that.
No,
they just recently split.
It wasn't that bad, but like Carvana, whoops, you have to go through it's been that long since it was out of the downtrend. Holy crap.
What about shorting?
Like Vana went all the way from 350
all the way
to
back.
Basically nothing to then regaining the high.
It's because look when they came out, man. They came out, they had COVID. When was that year that they IPO'd?
This is like 2017.
2017.
But then you had that COVID bottom where it went complete nuts during COVID and then gave it all the way back, and then people that held on for the dream. What was weird about this to me is that there were so many people were hoping that things like GameStop or other squeeze stocks would go, all the while if this was your jam, Carvana was just doing it. Like if you wanted to stick it to the analysts that thought a company was dead, Carvana was apparently the one. I didn't believe in it either. Why is SST
I might try Apple.
NASDAQ? It's New York. Come on.
Yep.
Load. That SST, by the way, it's the volume's starting to taper off here since the last. But it came out of the halt, biggest volume candle of the day, for now, decreasing vol, at least. Old wise trader, Apple was 1 month from bankruptcy. That's true. Apple did have 2 lives. That's true. Apple had 2 sort of, it gets prior, like, and then had jobs that had come back. Like, you're talking about going all the way back into the 80s. That's true.
I will hit the sign up because we have Apple long right now, and yeah, I was looking for something long, so we're long at 37s there. We got a VWAP bump into 50 there a little bit. That is VWAP. So let's see if we can take a piece out. That's really 55, but we just stopped at 50, so we'll sit there at 50, see if we grab that. Right now, we had written down earlier on the sticky note down here that we had liked 54s on Apple. So that just came in again. And the Tesla one was awesome. The USO, I was just debating the short there as well. Apple long Oracle. So that's what we're looking at today. Obviously, our trading now is PLTR, Microsoft, USO, and now Apple added to that opportunity. And here it is. So we'll try it. I did just take out more Palantir right now. So just so everybody's aware, man, 10% left. I was gonna say under 10%, but it's just marginally under that right now. So I'm gonna get out if we break 146 right here on PLTR, as that will be our 50-period moving average. Meanwhile, we're into our good friend Apple over there. And I thought, oops. Did I just punch out? No, I did not. Oh, I already have a stop. Okay, it's already there. All right, that's fine. 146. I just want to make sure I didn't sometimes I put the wrong price. You guys have seen me do that many times. And I thought we got punched out, but we didn't. So 146 right there, we'll wait. There's Apple, let's go. Small one there, but we take a 50, and here it goes, man. Right back up to the upside is AAPL. So I don't know, man. Like I told you, I feel like I'm on one recently, but there's Apple right now. There it is, man. There's 40 cents right there on Apple. So here we go, man. We'll take another piece out. Take another piece out right now as well, if we can get that. And we're just trying to scalp back and forth. It's 240 right now. I've traded Microsoft to the long side. Man, that was a awesome trade. Apple to the long side right now is now 30 cents in the money. Palantir, we just took $1.30 on that short there. And then USO was taken out as well. So we'll go 4 for 4 so far. But we do need to wait for this trade here, Apple. We're still in this one. Just so you know, I already took out half of Apple because I didn't get, like I waited for 254 again. We didn't get that. So I actually only noticed it now. And when I noticed it, I put a bid lower right here. And I was like, forget it. I want to have something on board. So we did punch a little bit there. But now you're running into the 200 and into the 50. You know what? I'll take another piece right here at 60 if we can get it. There it is. We'll offer 60s and get that on Apple. So there you go, man. 70 cents in the money right here on these 2 positions. Here we go. All in
franchise. Tech. Thank you for the super chat. You've been all over it. Appreciate you. Get that Gulf weather, man. Let us know where you are. Obviously, you must be in somewhere where the weather is a little bit nicer, although it's Gulf weather here. Would be proud of me going all in tech at the open. Light has been a beast. WDC. WDC is like the disrespected or not respected enough name. We're always talking about SanDisk and Micron and not enough about them. Sienna, NVT, and Form. Well, Sienna always, anytime Sienna comes up, you know that I'm gonna, I have a special place in my heart. It was one of the first, like the month, well, okay, when I made the shift to trading small cap stocks early on when I was a trainee, Sienna was one of the first small cap stocks I traded. At the time it was, obviously it's not now. But that's, like, it was a huge run at the open. Classic breakout trade for Sienna. And the other thing is something we talked about with, well, it was yesterday with Brian. I don't remember if we talked about it with anybody else. I think it was just with Brian, but I think it also might have been a theme we hit on a couple of other times. Sometimes buying the dip on things which are still in the uptrend when it gets bad can be an easier thing to do. It's easier to stomach because it's not catching a falling knife. It's buying the dip on an uptrend. Like GV's an example of that, Sienna's an example of that, MRVL's an example. There's some stocks out there that have been in uptrends for the last couple of weeks. ARM has been in an uptrend the last couple of weeks. I think to a certain extent, you can, if you squint hard enough, I know SNDK, relative to Micron, SNDK might not have been in an uptrend, but at least it was holding the line. AMD is an example of something which was holding the line, so a little bit stronger than the rest. So at least you're feeling a bit better about your long position there. Just very quickly, I said I would take a trend trade in Boyle. Okay. So it broke the trend line there and sort of headed back to the downside. But that also means if oil, USO turned as well, that's part of the reason why Boyle started coming down. But if that was going to happen, my prior bar stop on AL goes. So that trend trade, I should have taken something out at VWAP, but I think I had my bid under VWAP for reasons unknown. It's probably just my black chart was probably a little bit different. Maybe it's getting too many dark pool wicks in there. So I'm going to get out of this. I'm still going to hold on. Just as an idea, like this is just a pure trend break type of setup, right? You're going to see me take them all the time. And I say this, it should only ever take one, but if you have a trade setup that you like, you should take it, and if it's still there, then make sure you jump into it again. And so it should, like I said, it should only ever take one. Whether or not this dumps, AL might move 3 or 4 cents of risk to try to get to VWAP and make 5 to 10. WBD is the same thing. And it actually stopped out of this and then just got back in. So that's actually only 1 for 2, and it'll be my best stock today. But one of the reasons I like this is because it trades with such a big time premium spread. Before we move on, something needs to be acknowledged. SoFi, I think we forgot to mention this, but SoFi did make a fresh low today. SoFi is now down 2%. There was never a story here that we were able to sort of cling on to with SoFi. But it's been broken since Muddy Waters. If I'm being real about it, when I looked at this top, I don't know that I saw the confluence on the daily chart. That if you have the big plunge through the 200 period, and then you have a trend line which kind of links up from here to this current trend. So what do you think happened when it hit the top of the trend line? I tried it once and then not twice. That was a pullback. Given the fact that this was failing a pretty big technical level, this secondary short was worth more than one try. All of that being said, you can kind of see it trying to bounce here. Oh boy. Which is a bit weird. As the market rolls over, this one is yeah, but SoFi feels like let this continue to try to happen. And then when I start feeling a bit of a turn, just keep going short in SoFi. I hate to say it, I own shares of SoFi still. I still have a third of my overall position, and I've let it come back quite a bit. It doesn't matter what your average price is, whether you're up, down, and around, but if you let 4 or 5x turn into 2, it's still not good at the end of the day. But you have to make a judgment call sometimes. I didn't want to get out of all of it because, in my opinion, this was going into the S&P 500 this year, which I'm not sure it is anymore. We'll see. It does. I don't know that the S&P would want to do this while there's that cloud over it. I tried to find the odds on Kalshi. They haven't really updated. They had it for Q2 last month, but I haven't seen Q1, but I haven't seen the odds for Q2 come up for addition into the S&P 500. My guess is SoFi will be farther down than it was, which is not really, I'm not going out on a limb with that one.
No, it's too bad that they didn't get in last time. And then Apple Oven beat them and a couple other names. All right, so I took another bid at 72. We just bounced off of 50s there for Palantir, so getting very, very light right now. Apple as well, man, just cleaned out most of this. There's no point, I was saying it in the chat, like there's no point in sitting around and holding and hoping for huge moves. I mean, if a huge move happens, we still want to be in some of this move. So I still do have a third of this trade on for Apple, waiting for this top, but then also waiting to see if we can reload down here at 254. If that comes in, man. We'll just keep on doing what we're doing. I had said, like, I almost went Amazon 210 instead of Apple right there, and I'll just show you. Like, here's 210, so we did, like, I was going to give it to this bottom, which is 209.60s or so, like right into here, some of these pre-market levels, but we didn't take it, so, and it's okay. You know, it does come in, it does break 210, so I would have taken 210, been long 210, and then just been basically in the same trade as Apple. Apple might even be better. Apple's 40 cents up and not as violent, so we can maybe control that a little bit better. But right there, Amazon, still like that 210, something to talk about. If Apple does come back in, I still will take that trade as well. It's funny because Joe during the midday was thinking about a name to talk to Luis about, and I thought he was talking about Swarmer. It was not. It was a different stock. But this is a name that we haven't looked at in a little bit. And talk about a relatively new entrant into the market. Swarmer was supposed to come around $5. IPO's at 12. Obviously, a lot of interest in the name. Closes that day at 40. Moon's in the aftermarket. Then the very next day goes that 65 mark again and just goes again the very next day. And then the third day, it made a new high again there. And then it was boom, straight back there down to the downside there after day 3. So you get day 4, day 5, find a bottom, open up at that exact level again of 27 bucks. What's happening? Oh, I'm watching Apple twice, not Palantir on my other screen. Okay, I have to go back to Palantir. Okay, still fine. And then right there makes that bottom at 26. Again, I think there's a lot of shorts probably got caught into here thinking that this might have been the top. We wicked a bunch of times and always closed underneath thinking that was the top. The minute we blew back through 40, then it was upside. So if we sort of think about the same thing again, this is where I feel like you want to wait to get long in and around this 37, 38 marker for Swarmer. And then, I mean, if it's a violent day, then you're just going to have to get out. But this, to me, 31 or 32, and I know that's going to be about 20% in there that you're going to have to deal with, but if you're thinking a low float name that may go if they ever get, you know, that government contract or whatever, Swarmer, we said AVAV today, although they got something and went southbound. They did early initial move higher, but you can see here into with the market's always going to be king. So if it doesn't go, then you got to be careful. But AVAV and Swarmer, both names. We got that super chat from the Cheese Tycoon talking about, you know, different defense areas. AVAV, I think at some point, you know, probably something there.
It's a pretty expensive.
Oh yeah, I don't even know if they're making any money.
No, last I checked, it was like 9 to sales, which when you're not. Like we don't have an EPS, and you use the metric of price to sales, right? So that's what you're looking at. And even for a growth name, if you're a little too expensive there, it can be troublesome. And we're in a market where they don't like that. And if we're talking about small caps, just now, although it might have been a minute or two ago, yeah, it's actually been a while, so it's going to open up in a minute. ELAB is halted high of the day. And this is a good one. Well, an interesting one. I shouldn't call it good because we don't know yet. In the aftermarket, it did already trade up here, but it halts at pretty much almost exactly the intraday breakout price. So we're talking right here at the morning high, ELAB has halted. The current tap says $8.25 for ELAB. That's not huge in terms of a gap up, but it's still pretty decent. Their story was from Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. They got a long-term agreement with Turbojet, so it was a contract. And this is, look, it's a habitual line stepper, as you guys can see. We were just talking about things that reverse split and dump and reverse split and dump. So it has that profile, but this is actually holding up on the second day pretty well. So, but keep that in mind that it usually has had these kind of crazy dumps and not sustained the move. But this is aftermarket and then sustain, breakaway day, sustain, or a consolidation is another way to put it with a late break here. I'd be careful if it fails this local top after the open, just given the history that this thing has on. Like, it's pretty nasty. This is one of the worst ones that I've seen in terms of reverse splits and how often it's been able to do this pump and dump. There should be some kind of a limit to how many times you can reverse split in a single year. But there isn't, so, or at least if there is, I've never heard it. It's the same thing with short floats, I just don't get it. So there was that trend break here on Boyle. What I do have to watch out for if we're not gonna get all the way to this bottom is just keep an eye on USO. It's starting to creep back up. USO turned around before it got to the high. It could still if it puts in a lower high and comes to VWAP, then I think Boyle makes the low of the day. But it just comes down to relative strength and weakness. They're both energy. NatGas and oil tend to be related, but this is so distinctly different from oil today, what you're seeing in NatGas. USO is down 2%, this is down 5.7%. And that's what I started with this morning, was just that this one is weaker than the other. So if I see USO turn, I think Boyle's gonna end up being a better short. And so far, so good. At no point, again, if I'm at my desk, I probably get another trade in there. At no point has it really been any kind of a problem to that short side. But I am still watching BM&R. There was one tick back into VWAP, but this is starting to look a little more like a rounded bottom here on BM&R, where you're getting, there is a low, there's some higher lows in here. Don't know how much I'm gonna like it until it starts reforming a bit of a downward trend on BM&R. And plus, that would be, if I'm betting that oil futures or if energy is gonna go down, it's hard to want a long in a crypto name, because I feel like those things should go in the opposite direction. So until I'm convinced that I have to be convinced that USO is going to break out some tops. Yeah, if I want to short BM&R, I'd have to be convinced that energy is going to go higher. And at this point, I'm just not.
I could be convinced of Meta going higher. at this level. Let's go have a quick look. What just happened to Palantir there?
Goodness.
Okay, Palantir busted through 46, fine. Nice move higher there. You know, we told you we only had 10% left, probably less than that after we got out there. So a bunch of outs there for PLTR. Every out I'm trying to make like between 2 to 5% or so. All the way, but I'm doing much better because we're letting these things fall into key levels, right? I mean, when you're looking at a PLTR right here, and just to talk about it, like these are the levels, right? I mean, you could see right here that's the bottom, you know, right there at 10 o'clock. So we really wanted to make sure that, you know, if you sort of look here, that you're able to get out, especially when we're underneath. Like this little area, we'll go over right here. This little area to the south side, you can see we're looking at this of 145.60. The minute we broke, that's where we got out, you know, a decent amount of our position, and that was for, of course, $1 right there when we got out right there, and then it just fell back in, and then we just used basically 145 as a level of concern, and we broke it once right there off the open when it was very, very violent, and we've seen that many times. With stocks get really excited off the open. We talked about that in our lesson there, that you can a trade could set up in the pre-market and then it just, you know, acts like a magnet down to a certain level, or just someone's pulling it all the way down, or there's a big seller that's really hit that mark, or there's no bids, you know, there's lots of things that could happen. And you never know. So you wanted to try to make a little bit of a bottom. So right into there, we fell back in, we wicked that bottom on decent volume down here as well, and then made that high move. So Palantir to get out in that area, fine. Now, on the other side of it, just to discuss my other trade, because now we're flat on this here. Again, only 10% left. Oh no, we had a third, we got out a little bit more. So I would say right now, to be exact, we have just under a third, maybe 20, high 20s as a percent right now. And then go like this. If you're gonna see about Apple is a little different. I was just trying to play that momentum. I mean, obviously you saw that move go higher there. We did have news again. I don't know what that story was that spiked that there. It was the same thing. I was like, maybe I should short oil. But we got that spike up there. We had written down 254, a level that we liked for Apple. So miss it there, realize it when I'm searching for trades, found it, said, okay, we got a nice little bottom here at 254. Let's just go long. And then basically we just took 1-to-1. Our stop was going to be 54s. So out here at the 200, at the 50. Now we'll just wait. I think we could put another out at VWAP here of 50. And then just, if it comes back to 254, we'll take it. And we'll average it in until we break about 85 right here. And then we'll get out if that is the case for Apple. And those are those trades. The other thing I was just saying about Meta's been on a nice downside trend, right, over the last little while. But I asked this to Brian yesterday, and I was like, you know what, I think this will be the name that a lot of people run to and buy if there's sort of an all clear. And today you're getting another bump up there, same as the NASDAQ, right? But this is a very, like, pronounced move down. And I was just looking at it and thinking to myself, like, there it is again, right into those levels of 54 for Apple and, you know, 45 there for Palantir. Like, that's a decent long against 56 or 76, 576. So this little level right into here, I think here, I'm already on this. So that's the low right there. These are the pre-market lows. They're all matching up, and it basically just, even if you don't look right, you don't even see this price, just go over here and start to figure out where are the bottoms, and then boom, matches up with 56. So with Meta being at 57, you'd easily lose $1. Like this move up right there is 57 up to 58.50, so it's like $1.50, then it just drops down $1.50. But you're coming into a level here for Meta as well now. So if you're looking to go long, I'm still thinking, like, I still like the short. I know Obi was talking about the MU short and things like that, so shout out to Obi for grabbing this one as well. But at the same time, yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a good one. Short from up here, 375. So a nice little move, $8 or $9. Good, Obi. I like that, man. That's why I like trading with Obi. Sometimes we get these ideas together and we go short, or we're holding on for a little longer. So I like that trade there, Obi. 365, right into VWAP. So even though he's short up here, that's a great breakdown. I mean, right there is 373.50. Good breaking of the 50 period, breaking of the 200, everything downside there. Look at this 50 period moving average. You know, I would have got scared out there, so it's a good thing that you held. I don't know how much you hold, Obi, but 370 was a good one. But maybe you're starting to get a little bit of a bid coming in now. I don't know. The market is, we're into power hour. Does the market look very powered up right here?
Volume
I think
just,
yeah, the volume's dropping. A good point, Neil. And I think, you know, I would still favor this short. So anything into VWAP, anything like that, short. That's why I'm trying to, I just mentioned to you guys, like I'm trying to, maybe I'll just get out of this trade here on Apple and try to get a short. But yeah, the NASDAQ coming in, the SPY coming in, everything really off this 50-period moving average really coming in right now. So
I was going to show this.
I like the short.
So look at yesterday, just to get an idea. This is the NASDAQ. If I move this, grab that up, now you can see volume a little bit better. So this is the equivalent time yesterday. Like, look at the volume from when we come on. Like, usually it's holding and then it starts gravitating to the upside. And it was actually trending higher going into the close, as opposed to today. Like, we had a bit of a spike, but now we just had another 15-minute candle close, and it's been decreasing volume for the last two. That's usually a bit of a sign. Like, that's why I sort of feel like whatever is already happening, do more of that. I thought maybe Nike would be, maybe there was a better bounce in Nike to be faded. I just feel like if we're going one way, let's try to find ways to slide back. USO stopped moving, so it pulled back off the high and then just stopped on a dime. So for me, Boyle, like if USO is not going to retest the top, if we're not going to retest the top, then there's no reload situation. And I'll just like a holding pattern right now. Like if energy takes a move down, then I think we get the lows. But if USO pops up and makes another lower high, then I can reload this trade for sure. But right now that volume is so low on the futures. It's almost like let it make a move and give a spike and tell us what's going to happen next. Oh, by the way, ELAB. So halt, opened, halted up again, opened, broke lower for a heartbeat under 9. And now up at $10. So ELAB is continuing to rip some faces off. I double checked the float on this one, 500,000 shares float, which I guess if you split enough, that's what's going to happen. Right? Like what, if the float's 500 and they split it and they reverse split again, what's going to happen? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous on these. That's how you get these ridiculously low float stocks. But it's been soaked. It's done 19 million shares. So suffice to say, it's turned over the float about a bajillion times here, but still making some fresh highs. Probably not done halting if I had to make an educated guess. And just a reminder to everybody, just be careful at the end of the day in a halting type stock. If you're not into holding it until the aftermarket, if it halts within the last 10 minutes, then you are holding until the aftermarket. That's how it works. So you start to get a little bit more careful generally about 3:45. If you're really scared about trading it in the aftermarket, then you don't want to be involved in this thing at 3:45, because if it goes into a halt after that, you have to wait till after 4. It can be good because there's no halts, meaning it can move a heck of a lot more, but there's also more downside risk for you in that situation.
Okay, let's start hitting some keys. Everybody out there, no matter where you are on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Twitch, wherever you're at, here's your question. The SPY, I put this down because, you know, we got to make sure that, you know, you're voting. It's 0.7 right now. I'm going to take a look at this in a couple 5 minutes or so. Are we up from here into the close? That's it. So when we look back at 4 o'clock, you know, where will we be? 0.7 or higher? So we'll be, you know, up 1% or lower. I mean, it's pretty easy. Up from here or down from here into the close. Right now, it's 2/3, 1/3, 14.8 right now. Hit your 1s or your 2s, and then all of a sudden the answers will just start piling in here in our Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. We really need to try to get these off of the screen if possible. Fabian, I know you're working on it because it really refresh it.
I think
okay.
It's supposed to work.
All right, I'm going to refresh this bad boy. All right, so I have refreshed it. Now it just says 1s or 2s, so I think that's probably good. Now, and I don't know what my PC is, but it's not chugging anymore, so that's good. So there it is, man. 64.35 right now. And it looks like you guys are really starting to hit the keys up or down. So I'll check that back in a couple minutes. And I want to close this. I want to close this poll at 310. Right? Because the more we leave the voting all day, then we'll see. So right now, 0.66 on the S&P 500. If you're going to look at a chart right now, let's just chart it and see what maybe it looks like on a chart. All right, so underneath VWAP right now, right, the S&P 500 looking low, obviously, as we get some more headline risk associated with this trade. I mean, that's the problem with voting, right? I mean, you're voting based on not knowing what information is coming out. But just on a chart, I'd be voting lower, not higher. I think underneath, I just told you, I got out of Apple there for flat. I just said, forget it, man. We already made our money. We'll put that in our pipe and smoke it. But right here, downside right there, I think VWAP down, 200 period starting to fade down as well. I'm thinking short. but we'll wait. I mean, even on a 5-minute chart, still pretty juicy to the upside. I mean, you could hold this 353, and if that holds, then yeah, probably upside. Remember, Trump speaks tonight, and I just don't think he's going to be speaking anything too kindly about things. And would you rather be long or short? There's obviously going to be a tweet tomorrow at 7:30 again, trying to rally the market when he wakes up and it's down. But I got out of Apple right there. It did go back up into 60, so that was a mistake to get out, but I wanted just to flatten it out. I started thinking red, and which sparked that pull. And right now, just a quick update. I'm going to give you an update in 5 minutes. Make sure you get in there right now. The market still is only 0.7 again. So there it is, look, ES 0.7. So if you haven't voted, get in there and vote right now. Or if you have voted, vote twice. 93.59 right now. So still 60-40, still people thinking down. I think that's, to me, I think that's the right way.
But that's better. When we did it yesterday, it was more 50-50. Like, I think what are we, turning the corner a little bit? Like, a little more decisiveness.
Yeah.
Because if we do a poll which has that kind of a direction and you get 50-50 from the audience, I think that's a general sign of you don't want, like, that's exactly the kind of market that's just like, it's too befuddling. Like, it used to be, like, back in the day, we do some of these polls and it'd be like 80% this and 70-something there. But that's a symptom of a light volume.
Break of 76, maybe.
I guess ELAB didn't want to halt. I said it was likely to halt again, but it went to the,
Apple,
it's twice gone to the, what looked like the halt band to me, and then reset. And reset just means it didn't actually break it within the aforementioned amount of time. So this one just continues to go unabated here. I just saw the band. It was at $11.11. It got to $11 and pulled back. So very clearly, and shout out to Real Trading for getting these for us to be able to see them. I can't tell you the number of times where you look at it and like it'll be going in a churn after a couple of halts, and then it's not that people don't want it to halt again, but maybe that's exactly what it is. And it'll get close to the band. You just see the wave of profit takers start to come in there. And if you know where that band is and you have a long, then it's not a bad place to trim if you see that start to happen. Like, they're not letting it get to the band on this name. Going to look back over at, I mean, whatever. The market's not doing a lot of volume. Bitcoin's not at VWAP. Really not really moving that much. BMNR is getting close to this local, I want to call it triple top, like a bit of a W pattern at 19.9, but it's not doing so on any real volume or much of a move. And USO is just continuing to be in a standstill. Like, look at it just barcode. If this breaks down, great, but if we just sort of head back higher, that's when I'll think, if we can start pushing higher, I'd believe that it was worth it to short anything. But it's like, if you don't break the low on USO, I don't like the longs either way. I'm just staring at it, waiting for it to make a move. Break the trend or break the flat bottom, and then you can get going one way or the other.
All right, 3 more minutes left in this poll, and now we're at 0.74. So I voted lower, but I mean, it's not really doing anything right now. So you got 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes right now. Still 60-40, right? So 104.61 right now. Where you think the market's going to go into the close? Are we going to be now 0.7? That's what we're up. Are we up from here into the close? Yes or no? Up from here or down? So we'll see. Not too much voting. Well, lots of voting happening, but still 60-40. So I want to thank everybody for participating in that. And I was just like, dope, we got out of our Apple and it ran again. Now I'm thinking like, hey man, if I got out of it and I'm thinking short, what about thinking about this 80 area right here, 254.80 potentially for a short there. The voting's still going, man. You got 2 minutes and we are now 60-40 as well on that vote. So Andre, just let me know in my ear if we're ready there, and we'll go unless you are letting me know. And are you? Test my headphones, Andre.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah, no. Let's throw over to Neil and I'll reconnect.
Well, we have a lot of volatility in this market. Sometimes we go sideways. When we break away, there's big opportunity and movement. And if you're a sophisticated trader, that movement is a chance for you to take advantage. And Beta Pro by Globex offers Canada's first and longest running suite of leveraged and inverse ETFs that are built for sophisticated investors who understand the risks of leverage and the importance of precision. Its triple leverage bull and 3x bear ETFs tied to the NASDAQ 100 index are designed for daily tactical trades, providing amplified exposure and giving traders tools to engage with both upward momentum and market pullbacks. These strategies are currency hedged, seeking to offset US dollar exposure back to the Canadian loonie, And for those that are navigating short-term market moves, whether it's up or down, Beta Pro offers the flexibility to act with conviction, whatever that looks like for your individual strategy, objectives, and risk profile. Trade tactically and learn more at betapro.ca. Scan the QR code out in front of you. Shout out to them for sponsoring Power Hour, which we are now firmly in. Well, we're 10 minutes into Power Hour, though. Power and the volume needs to actually start coming back in to the upside. Day early. Oh, someone asked in the chat, I saw, we answered this morning, but there was someone in the chat who had asked if tomorrow was a half day. It is not. It is just Friday. Friday is off. Tomorrow's not a half day. And someone else had asked if Easter Monday was a holiday. No, it is not for the markets. I forget who observes Easter Monday. I know there's, is it a Canadian bank holiday?
I think it's probably all.
I think it's
probably bank holiday in the United States.
Yeah, bank holidays. But the markets are open. There's actually a rule about this. The stock markets do not remain closed for more than 3 consecutive days. The only time that the last time that wasn't the case was 9/11. It was only during 9/11. I think it was 4 days that it was closed. But usually it's 3 days. That's why you'd never have that 4-day weekend, regardless of how the holiday plays out. I was asked. There was a super chat just now. If I can, I'm on the wrong page now, but if we can throw up the super chat, Andre. It's Nick Dubs. What do you think about RDW on a weekly? It reminds you of Intel and thought is along. Curious your thoughts. Reminds you of Intel. That's interesting. Because Intel went from really looking to me like it was on the verge of breaking down and then just this big reversal. So here, biggest volume spike of the year, biggest breakout of the year. So chart the first pullback, and there's higher, low, higher, low. This looked like it was, remember I was worried about this. I'm like, I don't know, it's going down. And then we have a huge reversal, so complete rejection of losing the trend line, so it looks good again. So you're saying RDW looks the same or similar, or you're thinking about it in the same way? I don't know if you mean technically. I'm assuming you mean technically because that's what we do here. So I'll throw it up there. Or you mentioned the weekly chart. So let me throw up a weekly. So let's look at RDW, red wire. Well, technically it doesn't look the same as Intel technically, but I think what you might be getting at was that it's been bad, and then it just starts holding the line. It's not the same as Intel in terms of it holding the same level for a long time, which was the $19 level. 19 to 20 on Intel just held forever, and then it started going. But it's got some support in and around this 8. There was one plunge underneath, and you have a little something going on for accumulation. But I don't think that's as long as the accumulation that Intel had. I feel like that was, like Intel's accumulation was a little bit more on the nose, right? Like I find this was unique. Holds one big flush out bottom, holds a low, one tiny itty bitty liquidity grab, just keeps on holding the low, and eventually, if you don't break the low, there's only one place to go. Intel was a good example of that to me. But I mean, just because I don't think it looks the same technically, doesn't really mean anything. You like the stock, right? Like you've made plenty of good calls. Yeah,
exactly. There was a 40-year anchored VWAP on that Intel trade. All right, so the winner is down. So congratulations. Right there, the red market wins right now. So 60-40 basically again, downside off of 0.70. That is your stock voting game for an early afternoon look right there. And yeah, just to go over, I'm going to see right now, I mean, we're at VWAP, or so, we'll take another fill if we get to VWAP at 20. Just going to try to go short here on the NASDAQ. And if I'm just using the TQQs, I mean, whatever instrument you guys want to use go ahead as well. We'll go back to the futures again. And you can see the Qs are a little different where the VWAP is than the TQQs. I'm not really sure why that is, but a little bit of a move higher there, and we'll get short again here. And then, yeah, I'm still using these areas as our out on the NASDAQ. So if we do wind up breaking, and this could happen at any time, so we don't want to necessarily just go, we're not going to go crazy hard into the short here. We have, the spending, the DHS bill coming through. That's going to get voted on at some point right now. Plus we still have, everything about Iran and everything going on. So right now we'll wait to see if we get upside, but I'm going to go short right now on the NASDAQ underneath VWAP, see if we do get that. And where's the pull? Oh, there it is, 0.72 right now, so pretty flat. Yeah, so maybe if I move this over here, you guys can see a little bit better. There's ES down 0.72 at the NASDAQ, just hovering. Oh, there it is. We get a fill at 20. like this is like a 1 unit trade. Like, you know, we're not going to layer into this. I do find, and yesterday in the afternoon, remember we were short, and the market was ripping. It was much different than what it was now. And I said, like, you know, in a slow market, we don't necessarily want to just hang out and just average in all the way up, and then, you know, say, well, we're going to get out if it breaks the highs, because sometimes that will happen. And next thing you know, you've like, you know, given back your whole day. So we're definitely not doing anything like that right now. And if the NASDAQ does go up to 630, or this is the ES. Either way, I'm talking NASDAQ, but it's the same levels. So if we get up to here on this bump, and maybe we will talk about the NASDAQ right here quickly. If we do get up to this bump that we can punch out, it's actually right here on the NASDAQ because we're above VWAP. So we're going to wait to see if we do break higher. And I guess it matters if I look at the correct chart first right there. And I'm using the TQ, so that's why. Yeah, I was going to say, because why does it look different? I'm not waiting for up here. If I could wait for 43.50. It's not horrible, but like I said, when I'm trading the futures here in the market, I like to be right and not just let it drift against me. So let's just stick with that. Go short. My stop right now is break of 35 cents. So if we can get into this area, then we're going to get out and not wait for all the way up here. Even though it's only 10 cents more, it still matters. We're going to wait and see if we can get a better short on and give it a little bit of room here into the close. It's only 3:15, so we'll see. What time is that? I have a baseball coaches meeting tonight, 7 to 8. I think President Trump probably didn't speak before
9.
8.
I think
9
o'clock. The Artemis launches at 6:30 if you're into that kind of a thing, so you'll know whether it's successful or not. If you're trading Blue Ocean tonight, then you might look at some space names. I just want to point out on ELAB, so see that seller there for like 20,000 shares? There was somebody up here, did the same thing when it wicked 12 and shorted 12 for about the same lot size. And now that it's going down, see how they flashed it? So there's a decent chance that other order, I don't know if they'll follow it down, but someone sold that exact same chunk and got filled above 12. And now there's another chunk that seems like they're trying to get the fill. Whether that's profit taking, my guess is you'd probably just take advantage of liquidity inside the book if you were sophisticated. You could use like dark pools. I think that might have actually been someone trying to get a big short position. We'll see. But one person already successful, or one order already successfully turned it at 12. If the other one gets filled, someone could be putting, either they're getting out a bunch or they're putting on, sometimes you will see these bets get made. But the interesting thing about that is you saw it was on like Memex. Typically when I see an order like that, I'm thinking short-term trader. Like I'm not thinking institutional like hedging. I'm thinking like day traders on Memex. So it was interesting to see that particular gateway get used, but you never really know. Obviously, it's been great for anyone that happens to be long. I'm not going to say anything negative about that there. It's been pretty good, but it's getting to some big time levels, and it is 317. So this one, like I said, like it's one of these stocks where when it goes like multiple times, the holding overnight can be a little bit dicey, even when it's held to gains. Usually the next day isn't always the best. Sometimes it's okay for a bit and then reverses, but a lot of times you get that big parabolic move and it hasn't always done the best on that second day. So just be a little bit careful. Here is some people saying Tesla.
I mean, look at Apple. We were wrong on, we can look at Tesla's probably going as well. We were wrong on Apple, man. We got out of the last piece there and it just ripped up $1 right there on Apple. So whatever, man. We do not do well there. By getting out. So whatever, not happy with it, but we have to be responsible, obviously, for that trade. Still a positive trade. I mean, you know, that's for sure. So we can definitely, you know, hang our hat on that. But did get out there on Apple, and not a great one. Not a great look for me on that. Well, I mean, I'm still fine with it. We made the call, 254. It's on our note. We just didn't aggressively take it. So, well, we did, but we got out. I was thinking short, right? We did that poll right there, and although the ES and the NASDAQ are kind of just hanging out right now, Apple says, nah, that's good, man. I'm going long there, and so long it goes, Apple. And I instead shorted the market. We just bounced again off of 12s there, so I'm going to put a bid at 12, see if we can get that. Was hoping for a little bit lower. That didn't come in there, so we'll wait to see if we can get that. What's been a very positive day. We don't have any red stocks, but you know, looking to make We might have one here with the TQs if that does continue to go higher, stopping out right around here, 35. So we'll wait and get another little bit short, give us that 1 unit here, and then give it up into that 35 area. Yeah, just let it rock from there. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now, just trying to be chill, make the right trades. Okay, right there, Beach Report, what's up, my guy? Out of silver for now, into USO. So yeah, great trading, man. This is Mr. Goldthong, I think, himself. So you were mentioning a couple days ago that you were thinking the long there on silver, so hi-ho. That looks like that was going to be a good trade if you made it over the last couple of days. Now the highest you've been all week on silver.
I'm curious. My question would be, like, it's still looking, the chart still looks pretty good on that bounce. What made you cover? Would be my,
I mean, probably just hit it. Yeah, good question.
Could have hit your goal, but like when you just pulled up the chart and that's still, like, didn't it just break the trend on the daily?
And into USO, so what into USO long, I guess. That could be good. I mean, we talked about what may happen tonight. I don't know if the USO long is the right call. I mean, to me, it looks like, we're getting up there a little bit, but it doesn't mean anything. Yeah, $130 there for USO. And yeah, we looked at the oil futures are closed right now because it's past 2:30, but K contract was the right one. That's May. Yeah, okay. So right into here, $99. We're still at that $100 mark and looking to make a move down. Oil right now down 1.67%. So yeah, I don't know which way you went on that oil trade, but I'm going to assume long. Maybe I'm wrong on that one.
If someone says they're in something and they don't say short, the default assumption to me is long. Otherwise, you'd specify if it's a short. I think that's the more natural.
That's why when I read it, I was like, I'm into USO, yeah.
Well,
right.
but you know what?
What else is going on?
I guess you could maybe see that, given some of the back and forth we've had. But like, Trump could say anything. I feel like there's no way to gauge how tonight's going to go. It's almost like a react to it. But it's been a market where if you just react to the sentiment, it hasn't been really that bad trading energy when it's trending. This is just one of the more choppy days. Like if you look at USO, even when, like most of the times when when it starts trading differently, like yesterday, like everything started trading differently when we got the news. And then from there, you just played that direction. And it was this, whether you're trading that or Boyle or Oxy or XOM, once you broke and were doing something different, you did that the rest of the day. Today, that just wasn't the case. It broke a trend, headed down, made the low, but then it was a great reversal, then it was a great reversal, then it was a great reversal, and you end up with a very, very choppy day. I'm kind of hoping we don't have the same thing, and I'm still looking for this to break down. It's just, USO is completely sideways. This feels like when we weren't in conflict, like when the war wasn't going on and oil futures would close and they just wouldn't do anything. I'm not used to seeing this in oil, so I guess it's not going to be the jam. But I did say if SoFi SoFi is not really climbing here either. The market's eking up. It's not going. It's 320. I kind of thought this could stretch out a little bit more and then be a fade, but it might just be right here. And there was a good point, man. I have to double check this. Someone in the chat said SoFi has fallen far enough that it doesn't meet the market cap requirements for the S&P 500 anymore.
Which I don't know what those requirements are.
Well, I'm going to double. You know what? Like when we were talking about this, the thing was at $30. So when you've effectively been cut in half, so it's a very good point. I'll cop to not actually knowing where that's true. I know you don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I'll look it up, but that's true. Like when you have been, it was more in half. It is more than in half because it was 32 is the actual high, but effectively it's a 50% drawdown here. And I don't know who's being considered. Because like SoFi was in the last quarter, they didn't get in, but they were the next best odds was SoFi, so they would have been like the likely choice. So now we have to start thinking about, I don't know, who do we think is going to get in the S&P this Q? There's almost always somebody. Like I said, we said this earlier. Since 2015, there have been more large 10 billion plus deals made in M&A. And when there's a bunch of those and people come out of indexes and somebody has to go in. And if it's not going to be SoFi, someone else has to emerge.
It's an easy choice, and it's going to be MRVL. So they will go into the S&P 500 over SoFi. If they do not, then the S&P 500 is a fraud. Yeah, it should be MRVL. Let's go check out MRVL. I'm a fraud too because like this Apple trade, man, like Man, we gave it to you. We wrote down 254. It's on the note, man, right there. Damn it, Sean. You gotta trust yourself, because we had Tesla 274 as well. We'll get there, man. We'll get there. You'd think 25 years. What do you think I could have been typing? Oh, MRVL, MRVL. I was like, what could I be typing in Meta there? MRVL. And I know that's faded out a little bit, okay? But look what it just did. Again, off VWAP. Man, I'm just getting frustrated because I should have been, instead I'm short the I mean, I'm not even short that much of the NASDAQ, but like, was already long Apple and actually didn't mind that. So here's another one that missed again. Like, should have, it's tough, right? Because like, that's a great trade on MRVL. You know that MRVL is up today. We know that they have crazy momentum. Yeah, it printed you VWAP perfectly with a great opportunity to make some cash there on MRVL. And unfortunately, that 105 to 1, I mean, whatever. I have the same trade on Apple and I let it go. Like, we're in the money now. We should be in the money almost $1 on Apple, and that would be the same kind of thing. 105 up to 106, 106.50 and breaking. So we'll see if MRVL wants to continue its push tomorrow. I kind of feel like this one's maybe at its highs already, and this is like, looks opposite of pretty much like every AI stock you can think right now, breaking out. Like, MRVL's back to levels of February of 25 right now. So, you know, huge move, breaking higher. Definitely MRVL. I like the stock, and I think it goes higher from here even. So there goes MRVL. Broadcom, also something to be talking about.
Broadcom's not breaking, though. That's
No. Broadcom's not MRVL. Come on, my guy. All right, Uber, nice low. Uber made some good lows too. I mean, this was another name that if we're trying to, there goes the NASDAQ upside. Duh. That sucks, man, because we didn't need to lose there. We could have just held on to Apple and just ignored everything else. That stupid poll got me thinking the other way. All right, so there's Uber. Nice bottom there at 68, $70. I mean, that was a good level for sure on Uber. I mean, I say for sure now because it's bounced, but you know, another name, if you kind of like the story of Uber, which I do, I think there's a good battle opportunity here to get right back into it. So we can have a look at Uber if it does come back into that $68 mark, which could be tomorrow. Who knows what this market wants to do end of day.
68, oh goodness.
Yeah, it's a little low there.
Like we were so recently talking about a 50-period breakout on Uber for it to be doing what it's doing here. It's that's a super disappointing name. For me. But one of the things I love about it, we're just talking about the best trades you make sometimes are the ones that you don't. And if it doesn't actually set up, usually, okay, there you go. Usually I'm used to it taking a minute, the daily chart trying to matriculate in. But if it doesn't set up, you don't have to take it. This has respected the 50 period so well that when it finally closes above and confirms the next day, I'm just gonna love adding to my long-term position in it. And what's weird is I actually own Uber in my TFSA and not in my retirement account. It's just like, there's a few things that ended up in there because initially I was like, do I really, really believe? But it is what it is. It's a distinction without a difference. I think this one's not as bad as it looks, and it's got a pretty solid double bottom in here. And when it does eventually break, it's also got lots of room to get from there to the 200-period moving average. A lot of room for it to be able to do that. So USO, by the way, just took a little bit of a tick down. I mean, it's not much, but it's the first thing. That 25-cent drop is the first actual move it's done in the last hour or so. So it's a little bit of something. Sorry.
Bless you.
Tried to hold it. That one snuck up on me. Apologies. But at the same moment, Boyle's coming into the resistance level. So I'm going to pop in. If USO is going down, we'll pop on the offer here, just as I saw that tick down. And try and offer it right back in. Not forget about VWAP and where the trend line was before. We'll just use that prior high, and if it breaks the prior high, jump out. Otherwise, see if this follows USO to the downside, or hopefully it does anything USO. Most of the time, like when we've had the drop or we trend down, this makes the curl as well. It's 328, so we're close enough. We can look at the early look if there's anything there, and it was already sorted. No one cares about Nokia, 2.4, CNQ, 2 million is not a big deal. That always pairs off. That's a penny stock. BMNR, that's about as small as I've seen. BMNR usually shows up, but we'll see what, 1.8 million, 1.7 million, something along those lines. 500,000 is the early look imbalance on this. Every time it's shown up in the last month, I feel like we're looking at millions on the imbalance locator. So this seems very, very quiet on the locator today. Which, fair enough, the volume's been pretty low as well. Mopar, thank you for the super chat there. I'll sneeze more if it gets the super chats. No, I will absolutely not. I will absolutely not do that. Try not to. But there's construction around here. They can kick up some dust.
Every time someone's sitting at my desk, I switch keyboards because it's pretty nasty around here for sure. So thank you for that. As he mentions, you see the people working in there behind us. So yeah, it looks like right now the market is continuing higher, right? I mean, we had that moment up there, 0.88 right now. So the NASDAQ is heading higher. I voted lower. Sorry, the ES, I voted lower as well. And there we go. Nice move right there into the close. Yeah, Tesla 2.39% there. Robinhood making its way back upside right now, up 1.4%. And it was down to zeros, I think, almost on the day again there today. Yeah, so 60. Yeah, we actually went red on the day for Robinhood right there, and not a bad stock today. You know, definitely gave you some reasons to get long right into here. Yesterday's sort of levels. That was that. I'm still so mad about Apple, but like I was saying to Michelle there in the chat, you know, like I hit the keys. Like I got to be responsible for my own trading, and obviously there I hit the key to sell there on Apple, but there it is, 254. And you know, just to review, we had Tesla 274 on the sticky note. We had Apple 254 on the note as well, and all those levels really did hold out today. We also had Oracle watching out for that 148, so maybe that's a short if we get Oracle back up to 148 right there. We'll have to look at that tomorrow, 147 and change. Oracle, the one stock here, as we start to moon a little bit. There's more stocks, but this is one of them that looks like it wants to go oppo what the market's doing. So into the 200 period moving average, not a bad spot right there. Again, to think about it, 146, potential short for Oracle right now. If we think the short is right into the close, like we said, I could maybe go short the market again, but we did that yesterday at this time, and we just did it now, and we realized our lesson there. We give back 20% of what we make on Microsoft there on that futures trade. So yeah, not great, but you know, that's how I'm going to talk. And we always say we don't want to have a loser bigger than our winner by an extraordinary amount. And obviously that's going to be my loser of the day is this TQ trade. And then, like I said, it's about 20% of the winning trade. So 5-to-1 ratio on that one. We will keep it. All right, so Meta was another one there that unfortunately, sometimes you just got to read the tea leaves and not anything else. Meta was down here at 576. It was actually 577 when I was talking about it. And I was saying, like, we could go there, give it to 576. That's about $1. So right there, there's your win. Right there, back up to the upside. So I think if anything, listen to how I speak and maybe not how I trade. But yeah, today, very, very positive day. We're really happy with that one. Not easy to be positive on a day like today. Obi wanted me to tell everybody that he got positive on this move for Micron, so congratulations to Obi there. Had a very nice short, and covered is gone right now. Just reminding everybody that because he was stuck in the short and punched out and then got it back in right there. So congrats there. All right, so Trump's going to, I guess tonight, declare that the war is winding down and others need to step up to correct the Strait of Hormuz. So he's going to say, as far as, I guess, the United States is concerned, and we can go over to USO, this is just happening now. Someone's either got a hold of his speech or they know what he's talking about. And he's going to mention, apparently, that the war is winding down from a United States standpoint, but the Strait of Hormuz is still an issue and they need help with it. So that's where he's probably going to start throwing shade at NATO again, and we'll see how that winds up going tonight. And, you know, oil definitely going to be on everyone's minds here into tomorrow. We had a question about SCO before. This is the ultra short. So I think this is a 2x short. So what? Yeah, so that is exactly what it is. So oil right there, you can see USO down 2.5, this one up 5. So that's exactly what it is. I was just going to say, like, just trade both of them or neither of them if you don't want. This is only $8. So I think that if you are low on capital, this would be something to trade. And there are many ETFs. Gush, different things here. Gush is another
the
oil.
The only thing I would say is
this is S&P oil and gas.
be aware. It's not that it happens often.
3 times levered.
But when silver was going crazy, lots of people were trading ZSL. And there was a moment in that really big down day on silver where they completely disconnected from each other. And so like as silver went down, like I think it was like 4 or 5%, and ZSL, which should really, in that situation, it should go down like 2x, it went down like 30%. Like it was a complete disconnect because people were just too caught long with size on ZSL. So when silver went down a little bit, it was just liquidating people into the volume weighted average price. So that's the kind of thing that can happen if you trade one of those leveraged, but only when there's like exorbitant amounts of volume. People get too crowded into trade. Just be careful with that. Did see it happen. It was pretty crazy. We mentioned it on the midday the second we could, so that Sharif and Joe at the time could go over to it. That ELAB, yeah, the seller at 12 did take their shares, and when it came back up through, they kept putting that 20,000 lot, and so got, I think, 3 fills, and looks like they ended up being right, whether they were taking out longs. This has made all of these wicks, it's like break 12, fail, break 12, fail, break 12, fail. It gets broken 12 like 5 times this afternoon and failed that same level over and over again. So I'm not saying it's done, but the seller's starting to really win on that bad boy. And overthinking bear, that there was an arbitrage trade, yes. If you just took the long that day on ZSL, if you took the long off VWAP, it came right back. But you had to, it was a tape reading trade because it's basically like a mini flash crash. So you're just waiting until like the bid evaporates because there's nobody on the bid, right? And then it's like people are just like hammering out. The second you see the bid stop getting hit and liquidity comes into the bid, you just cross up and went long, knowing that eventually it should catch up. That's exactly what happened within 5 minutes. There was a little bit of craziness, but as long as you watched silver, as long as silver didn't go down, it eventually caught up within 5 or 10 minutes. But that only works if you're not trapped. If you're trapped long, it doesn't really make a difference in that situation, because you might get stopped out, you might get shut down, like all these things. People were getting liquidated. It fell enough that people were getting smoked. So if you're not in it, you can take advantage of it, I think.
That was, of course, and Neil corrected me the other time, outside of imbalances and outside of IPOs, that was the largest trade in Trader TV history, was this short of 90 that we had on SLV that day. So definitely, man, when volume is there, you gotta get on those names. So thank you to everybody for once again bringing that up. And I think that's a great question. So thank you so much there for everybody in the chat, man. That was a big one. One more time. All right. Yeah, so SLV, I love SLV. Like I said, I remember that day we just played it off of VWAP, but I can probably go find it. It was literally this short right here. We were short 90. And I remember, like, it was down to like 85, like we were making that money. And I think I had an appointment. I went to it. I still had a little bit of shares left. Came back. This thing was like at 75. And it was just an absolute monster. So yeah, as we were saying, outside of major imbalances and or IPOs, the #1 P&L trade in the history of the show. And that was only in January 30th. So stay tuned, man. Join us every single day. You never know when things like that may happen around here. And that was a fun one, that's for sure. I remember the DWAC days. Those were a bunch of fun as well. Okay, Robinhood. I did look at that a little bit. We did talk a little bit about it. Nice stock on a day like today, man. I mean, up that 1%. I still want to think that, the 69 level, if we do get a good day tomorrow, I was saying, like, thinking about buying some Robinhood in and around that $70 marker, but I didn't do it. I know Neil nibbled a little bit. I still like SoFi, and I like Robinhood as well. I just would kind of want to buy it on the way up there for Robinhood. So I'm going to wait until we at least break this 50-period moving average to get excited about Robinhood, and then get into it a little bit. I think, holding on to SoFi is nervous enough. And then I re-last bought.
Happening in oil here.
Is it? Okay. Yeah. I re-last bought crypto at 66. And by crypto, I mean, I don't think I'm ever going to buy Ethereum again. I still own some. I will buy BTC, and I still own some Ripple. I don't even know what Ripple's price is, actually. I still own some of that, and still own Cardano and Solana, all the shitcoins. We got some ownership there.
It's funny you call them shitcoins. Like, those are all the ones that you can trade at real trading, except for maybe not Solana.
I think you could trade Solana.
We have Solana as well.
I think we could trade a lot over here.
You know what? They've probably added some since I looked.
I mean, here's Solana. No, I think this was always one of the very first ones.
it was?
Yeah, here's Solana spot. So you could trade that at $84.
Bitcoin ETH, we know you can.
Yeah, here's, Ripple's probably under XRP.
Shout out to Real Trading.
Yeah, shout out to Real Trading for sure. Yeah, see, unfortunately, we might not have Ripple.
Maybe.
Unless that's under something else that I don't know about.
Yeah,
that's
we don't
XRP. And then here's what BTC looks like. In our spot, there it is, spot Bitcoin right now. So it's funny because it just goes, it's basically who we're connected with. So
you can see it's Binance.
Yeah, so it's Binance. So, we're not going to be getting, it's not the greatest quote.
There's other quotes. I think if you have high lock cross, I think that's.
Oh, okay, maybe that's what I have.
Just very quickly, we have 2 super chats, but USO broke the volume weighted average price here. But what's interesting is that just happened and maybe we're just not as connected to the market here, but we first moved downside on Bitcoin, and I just went over and I'm like, well, what is the Q's doing? Slightly bouncing, like not going crazy, but as you're getting late on the day, there's now 340 by the way. So that basically gave us the same move in Boyle. Still looking for LOD. If USO continues to go down, I think it will go as well. Dave has his dumb weekend swing. Well, it's still tomorrow. It's not really. It's kind of early.
I just wish we would have started to actually
can't do USO options.
These.
10x derivatives, no thank you. Calls at this discount. XOM 170 for May 15th. Liking some Exxon Mobil. It's been a little bit higher, but this hasn't even pulled back into the 50 period despite the last 3 days. Like, it looks like a hefty pullback, but really it's not that much of a dent. I'm just kind of curious what is CVX doing in here. Because CVX had gone, CVX is pulling back more, but then it had gone a little bit more than XOM. That's a bit bigger of a dip. It hasn't even pulled back to the 50 period, the 50 period SMA on the daily. And then one more super chat here. Thank you, Dave, for yours. I believe it was Natalia. Thank you again. Neil and Sean, can you please analyze Venture Global's charts? And thank you, enjoy the show. Well, we appreciate you. I don't know the time frame you're looking at, so I always start top down. Like if I don't know the name, then I want to see as much of the history as possible. So if these guys came to market, I know this is a weird setup, but one of the best actual technical setups for a new stock is when it's made a low since it came in, and then can take out the high. It's a big time breakout. I know this is going to look really bad when I pull up Hood for the same thing, because obviously Hood's come back a lot. But trust me when I tell you, so you have to go to a monthly because Hood is too old. Robinhood, when it came down and retook the IPO price, had a little bit of a shakeout, but it went absolutely parabolic. And sometimes that's what you need to see for a stock. So just jumping back to, I believe it was VG, right? Jumping back to VG.
Yeah, that's what he asked about. Yeah.
And if it did something similar, it would have a ways to go. Unfortunately, and we'll go back to a weekly because that's monthly still useless here. Unfortunately, it just put in a lower high. So it's still kind of in a bit of a downward channel. If you're in a downward channel, if any stock is in a downward channel, it's kind of telling me to buy the dips instead of the rips until it breaks that channel. When you stop making like lower highs, I'm not even on my drawing tool, but you guys can imagine it. There's only really 2 points here. Until it stops doing that, usually buying the dips is a good way to go. Easy peasy in the chat. Just send us another one. It's the $2 for the 0.2 silverback trades.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sean and Neil. Well, Trader TV, easy peasy. Thank you. Love you, man. Appreciate it. I know you were looking at SLV as well. We were just talking about silver too, right? So that's been pretty bullish the last couple of days. Frustrating one today though. That was the long that it did the stop. It did the curl. At that moment, I kind of liked the IBIT short a little bit more than I liked that silver long. But it still looks to me like silver is just trying to get going. Like, you just broke this downtrend and you have a couple of days confirming it. I don't know that this is done. I'd still be bullish on this tomorrow until it shows you a little bit of something different. It still looks pretty good. Let's see how gold, I'm sure gold looks very similar as well, but you want to make sure that gold isn't defecating all over itself if you're involved over here. Why do I have Friday charts on a Wednesday? See how long it takes to load? That's my PC more than anything else. Yeah, gold looks just as good. You're breaking this consolidation. Definitely a bottoming tail volume event.
Apple.
Consolidation breakout. Gold looks good. Silver still looks pretty bullish to me, but It's just my 2 cents. I'll favor the longs tomorrow on them. Unless the president really alters things overnight, which he could.
Oh, man. You know, speechless about this Apple trade. Had no idea it had this kind of juice into the close. But, you know, at least we wrote down that 254 and we can, you know, mark our level. Maybe we would have made the top trader board if I just took 10,000 shares down there of Apple. Let's see who made it yesterday. These are the top traders here at Real Trading from yesterday. And these are the markets that they traded and the USD P&L from said market. So we have somebody that's an eager beaver and trading everything in North America. It seems like CBOE, CSE, NASDAQ, and the Canadian markets as well, both this TSX venture, which is like basically like the Amex sort of their venture stock. So, you know, little second tier level. Some of the names that Raheem talks about are on CSE or the TSX venture as well, and some of our sponsors. Amex, NASDAQ, Blue Ocean. Somebody yesterday took home $7,200 swimming in the ocean.
Other than trading Blue Ocean.
Yeah, this is the only market right there. Cool. So, like we said, man, be specific and try to focus on what you're doing. Here, let's look at this. These are the top traders, as you mentioned, individual markets. So, someone with the syndrome here in Stockholm, they made $915 yesterday. That was our top trader. Someone over on the London Stock Exchange, 2,000. Australia, we have here at Real Trading. So that's a shout out there as well to anybody looking at that market. Heads up on that one. That's Amex there, OTC market. So there we go, someone over there. I told you, you know, looking at the pink sheets, you can make some money over there. Looking at Fannie Mae, we saw a big move of that the last couple of days as well. There's your TSX venture. So these are just individual traders. There's Blue Ocean, there's TSX, and there's NASDAQ. So yeah, and there's going to be accounts, I guess, where markets where potentially we have over 60 live markets. So here at Real Trading, make sure you do go to realtrading.com, find out more about that. I wish I had more information on this Apple move, but it's all good. Palantir, we punched out right there. Like, Palantir is not moving anything like Apple here into the close. So really glad Apple's still a big holding of mine. Netflix had a dump this morning and then right back upside again for Netflix there today. Nice move. This is what the dollar looks like today, as well as we'll just have a quick look at the DXY. Breaking over that 100 mark and then back in. So we'll look at this maybe as a hour chart or so. Yeah, there it was earlier on the beginning of this month. So today and into yesterday, we broke above. Downside today, and again, with dollar strength, we normally get S&P or at least NASDAQ weakness, but as the dollar weakens right there, you're gonna have names like an Apple or anybody that's repatriating the money back. It'll be a bigger effect on their income statement if it's a lower US dollar, because they can take in 1,000 euros and then book that at 1,500 US or whatever the exchange rate is. So then all of a sudden the revenue is 1,500. You know, if that euro was 1-to-1, then they'd have to bring it back at 1, so at 1,000. So that's why that works. And it's not, you know, all the time. I mean, most of these companies still making most of their revenues here stateside in the United States. So take that in consideration. And then just a quick little look at the broader markets in general here, as we're still waiting for our own heat map board. We have so many projects on the go, though. It's insane. But right here, heat map time, XOM. Wow, XOM down 5%, man. That's not good. I think that's actually pretty nasty. Today, Valero, like this is
it's
where...
It's good for the markets when...
Oh, it's great for the market. The market can't go up if oil goes higher.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is just not something that's possible at all. So, you know, that's something that's true.
That's a good one.
Right there. Which one?
Lilly.
Oh, Eli Lilly. Yeah. Where is it?
It was a beast today.
Yeah, no, they got an announcement.
Yeah.
They got an announcement that their oral drug, I think, got approved today. So here we go. Did you get that story?
I can pull it up.
I can have it right here, just because.
We mentioned it earlier.
No,
they mentioned it on the Midday too.
Yeah, Eli Lilly shares are trading higher. Here it is. After announcement, yeah, FDA approved Foundeo there. So something else there. FDA approves the treatments with obesity. So that's going to be still that same GLP, but now it's Foundeo and it's the pills. So there's right there. FDA. Oh, here's the main story. You zoom this down in a little bit here. FDA approves Lilly's blah, blah, blah. The only GLP for weight loss that can be taken without food or water restrictions. Anyways, yada, yada, yada. The whole story is there. If you are interested in that, go find it out. But yeah, it is nice to see Eli Lilly back. That was one of the picks of mine for the year. And I haven't actually bought any more Eli Lilly or done anything with this in a hell of a long time. I remember I first bought it and I was mad because I got out of Google near some of those lows and bought some Eli Lilly. So I think net we're fine at the end of the day. But Eli Lilly's had a dump off. And we actually got a question about this when it was right into here. And I was like, if we break that 960, watch out now. But you're all the way back right into the 200 period. You like companies that are at these levels, you buy them, the 200 period moving average. And that's another example there for Eli Lilly. I'm not sure if CrowdStrike or PanW or those names are back. Okay, yeah, they are. So that's good. Back to $400 here for Crowd.
Well, almost.
Yeah, not completely back. And then Palo Alto, again, 160. Some lows for these names, man. They have not been trading that well off of this, what is it, Centrini report that sent IGV and some of these names way down, and Claude models and all that stuff opening up Pandora's box for a lot of
Every
these.
time one of these papers comes out, it's like everyone just panics in the cybersecurity names and panics. And I feel like it's like everyone's just throwing out the baby with the bathwater, as if everybody in that sector is supposed to get disrupted equally. It's like, well, that's just not how things work. You get some winners in there. So you just try to have the best names if you can, or the ones with the most fortification. 20 seconds until the imbalances. A quick double check on the early looks. TWI, okay, so this is a S&P 600 delete tonight. Expected 6.7 million. Right now, 3 is, believe it or not, less than what was expected, so it might be okay, but it also might be nothing. Nokia doesn't really matter. CNQ also nothing there. GDX is the only Amex name I see. Marvell. Imbalances just hit at 350. So Marvell, 1.2 million to the buy side. NVIDIA, 1.4 million to the sell side. So that's a bit mixed so far. Intel, 1 million to the buy, or just slightly underneath it. Here, that already paired a little bit. Wow, this is not very big. Like I said, GDX only 600,000. It's really just NVIDIA and Marvell. Did Marvell move on that?
No. I'm watching it.
Barely. 30 cents maybe at best on the.
It's not that big of a move. I mean, 35 million shares. I mean, I think the big, damn it. We almost went short NVIDIA too. So this has been another trade that was right off VWAP. I mean, look, we're not going to go short. This was just when we talked about NVIDIA earlier, it was going to be short. We would have got out of it heading into the imbalances anyways, but there's NVIDIA bleeding into the end of the day, and it was right there as a sell. So this is the size you're looking at, the size side. This is the paired value. So it was initially a sell of like 13, almost 14 million shares, but it's been paired off and still work to do there on the downside. Marvell, we already talked about. Intel has been on one the last couple of days. They're up today pretty nicely, and they catch a bid as well. So up 8%. Wow, good for you, Intel. This could be a trade tomorrow, man, looking like it wants to break. Apple made the move down, but wow, what a move for Apple there. Look, we made money on it. It's all good, but wow, up to 356 soon. And the reason why I like that 254 today, we talked about it, looked like it was going to break higher there. I still feel like we do get that. We may even get that tomorrow. And then we just said, okay, if we're going to be positive on the name, let's go find a level. And then yesterday for Apple, the reason why we wrote down 254 is yesterday's close. So that was an interesting one. If you would have took it, sure, you had to give it 50 cents. We probably would have been stopped out on that break, but then rebought it. So yeah, the trade was really just right there, and then again right in the secondary trade. And then we did have it at one point and gave it up. So there goes Apple into the close. Beautiful upside trading there. Palantir was a good one for us. We were long in this area, flipped into the short, maxed it out near the lows there, got out on the 146 break. That goes to 147 in VWAP, and then that gets faded. The big trade of the day, this will be the biggest trade on the show today, will be this Microsoft trade. So there it goes, boom, boom, all the way to the upside, 372.50. That was $5. Or $4, so we can confidently say that. And there it goes, Microsoft. Started with it there, made a little bit of money early, got flushed on it, found that low that just came in, and I'm just kind of wasting time here, right into that level right there. And then we already discussed this. Someone asked me earlier about this trade, and we were going to get out if it broke 368. But even when we were in this, the rhetoric remained the same. I said, this has the potential, for a big one there today, and it is. So it's a big one. It's really holding my day today, Microsoft, right? Everything else is in and out, in and out. We gave some back on Palantir, on the Qs, made some money. Oh, and then we also had this one last trade review for me, USO. So actually today is still strange. I have 5 names that I traded, which is a lot for me, but still, green day, we're at our daily goal, and it's a good one there. So there's USO, got stopped out once on that trade. And look at the bottom, man. It really mattered again right there at 1 o'clock, at 2 o'clock. So
it's breaking,
so far, so good.
But it's actually breaking higher there on USO. So whatever it was that actually caused that spike down on USO, it turns out maybe it was nothing. It just seemed maybe this was just coiling and it decided to break down. But I'm going to come tomorrow with sort of the same notion until proven otherwise, that while that was choppy, Boyle managed to downtrend, but USO goes up, you punch out regardless. It doesn't really make a difference. This TWI came out much smaller. Remember the expected was 7 million. It came out at 1.8, and we're looking at 2.8, so that's a nothing burger. And ELAB, for those that asked, remember I did tell you guys it would not open up until 4 o'clock if this happened, and it did happen. So it's halted. This will open at 4. The whole 5 and 10 shouldn't make a difference at this point, although it's indicating $14. And there's no halts in the aftermarket, everybody. So obviously, ELAB is this is one wins for the afternoon runner, no question. Halted 3 times now to the upside, and maybe this time will be different from all of the others, where if you held on too long, it eventually just goes back to penny stock status. Like every one of these drops gets almost back to $1 or back underneath $1 when they do the reverse split. But for now, looking very good. In about 20 seconds, you're going to see some of these pair off to the extent that, Nike's a buy of 2 million shares. Go figure. I guess even the shorts have to cover at the end of the day. Amazon's a sell at 1.5, but in about 10 seconds, these are probably going to pair off. Like Nike just went from just flipping around from 2 to 1.2. But yeah, what did Nike do today? Did it get off the bottom?
It was down 14% at one point.
The answer is no. It's down 15%.
Yep.
It never caught a bid. Never caught a bid. Nike is at 2026 levels, I believe. Zoom out yourself. It's around 10 years ago was the last time it was at this price. Maybe it's 11, maybe it's 9. I don't remember exactly, but it's in that range. And nothing about it looks good. The guidance is bad. It's expensive relative to its peers. Everyone keeps talking about, but the brand is good and they still sell. That's nice. But just because people like the brand doesn't mean that you actually make profits and have growth. That's the thing. Nike can go on being great and people loving it and selling shoes and all that good stuff. It doesn't necessarily mean the stock price has to do stuff. You know how much revenue Intel was doing while it was crap? Like the revenue numbers were still pretty big for all that time that the stock was going down, but they were just losing market share. So that's how the markets work, unfortunately. I'm not hating on Nike. I only ran track in Nikes back in the day. They were my favorite running shoe, although not anymore. New Balance for me when I run.
Yeah, like I was going to say, someone put in the chat, they says like, you're not going to see any, professional athletes or anything right now, like especially those playing, football, basketball. I know New Balance is in baseball, but most people are wearing Nikes for sure. But you don't necessarily have to have a successful sales to get those numbers going because there's costs associated with it. And then obviously the downturn as well, as we worry about the basically just global potential. I mean, I think GDP is going to get lowered, expectations now. Inflation's going to go higher. The consumer will continue to be a little strapped. Look at Amazon. I mean, Amazon's a nice downside as well right now here into the close. Only up 1% right now. Coming back in, watch out for that 210. We'll see if that winds up holding. Interesting name, Amazon. I honestly, I guess all that damage, I mean, there's been reported drone damage to some of their data centers and whatnot over there in the Middle East. And this stock seems to be kind of like ironclad to that. It doesn't seem to be affected at all. And, they can be rebuilt and maybe the damage just isn't that significant. But we watch out for some Amazon trading as well there tomorrow. Still 1% just into the close. Another look to see. Yeah, I mean, Neil just went over this, but Nike, Intel still the bid. We don't have any more, not unfortunate or unfortunate, depends on which way you look at it. We don't have NVIDIA on here anymore from what I
paired all the way.
Did. Okay, so I wanted to see where NVIDIA goes into the close here, down. Okay, so yeah, that paired off and heading lower. I don't think we'll get green. I don't think we'll get red on NVIDIA. Oh yeah, what about that market? Wow,
oddly enough,
we nailed that, man, 0.7.
If there had been an answer for nothing, I feel like maybe some people would have done it, but
I think so. I think flat was probably the best answer because
that's where we're going to end.
Now it's easy to say.
I mean, in the next 2 minutes could maybe have something drastic happen, but my guess is nothing drastic is going to happen in the next 2 minutes, and it will be that 0.7. But that's still good. That's up 0.7, not down. But at 9 o'clock tonight, or somewhere in and around there, I actually don't know how time sensitive that's going to be. We're going to hear from the president. We'll see how it goes. Oh, if you happen to be, well, it's only 90 seconds now, but if you're holding any space stocks, The Artemis launch, it's going to be fine. It's going to go well. It's supposed to be at 6:30, but you know how launches go. Sometimes they have to delay for weather reasons or whatever. But as far as I can tell, it's
the Jays got postponed. Whoever
the
Jays are playing today.
Oh, we went on the road.
It's not happening.
Yeah, well,
I don't know if it's Chicago or I'm not sure where it is, but the Blue Jays are postponed.
We actually could use that
today.
Because let the pitching staff.
Yeah, that's good for us. It's a doubleheader on Saturday, I think I saw. So whoever's there, I think it was the White Sox.
Oh, you know who comes next week?
Yes.
Shohei.
Yes, I was gonna say I knew it was the Dodgers. Wow, it'd be crazy.
We're not. You want either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday?
Yeah, I want to take.
We're not.
Oh, Monday, Tuesday.
We're not. They're coming in the beginning of the week, and we have stuff every single day, so we're actually not going. So.
I mean, I'll take them, but you should sell them and get lots.
I know but honestly, we did pretty well selling during the playoffs.
I think they're going to make the playoffs
because we bought in extra pairs. We had our season tickets, and we had like extras that we were selling off. And it's myself, my daughter, my wife, so we had 4, and we would sell the extra seat. Just doing that was paying for everything. The prices people were paying was ridiculous.
I think they're going to pay them again, man. I think the Jays hype is.
I had one of our friends. I was just like, dude, this is what I'm getting.
Remember that one friend that
I don't want to sell. I didn't want to sell them to my friends. I'm like, you should. This is stupidity. I don't want to sell to you.
No. I don't know if you say his name too much, but you're the guy you share with. Remember he sold game, whatever that game was?
Yeah.
And he was like, damn, MF. I don't remember what game
it
was.
Yeah, it was game 6.
Yeah, whatever it was. It doesn't matter. It turned out fine. Obviously, they didn't win the World Series. There it is, man. We are now closed and ready to rock and roll here. All right, man. I mean, overall, pretty good day. I mean, I think you got to be happy. I mean, although the NASDAQ and the ES both do pull back a little bit. I mean, you take up 1%. Like, if the NASDAQ went up 1% every day, obviously, that's never going to happen. But, nice move there. Yeah, that would be insane. But it's starting to feel like that a little bit, especially if you're looking at some of the daily charts. Not feeling like we're going up every day, but that's now back-to-back days. Nice green days covering up. Look, we're still not back to last week's highs yet, so we can get back into there maybe tomorrow. That'll be 592, 584 or so right now. We'll see if we can get back up to there. So that's just last week's highs right into there. So we're almost all the way back. But yeah, nice, man. We said don't check your accounts, but maybe you want to today, especially if you do have some of those bigger names today, like a Google. MRVL went back up to the upside. Intel up 9%, man. Some of the oil names. The worst ones would be the energy, right? I mean, if you're in, look, if you're in XOM, you have nothing to complain about, really. This is now 3 days low. We just heard it was the worst Nike day since 24, so down 16%. Or so. Just looking at my stocks and what stocks were up or down out of the stocks that I look at, and then we'll let you guys go. Just big days there. SMR down 5, XOM down 5, Oxy, USO, Mara down a little bit. Let's flip it the other way. Micron 9, Intel 9, MRVL 8, Boeing 4 is nice, man. Google 3.5, great day for Google. Tesla 2.5. DraftKings, I don't really like that name anymore, but they're up 2.5% as well. So gold, 175. So not a bad day. I think if your risk is spread out and you're well diversified, you're probably pretty happy.
I think you're overall happy for sure. Mopar, you're going to be happy. Well, we're happy for the super chat, and we appreciate you. So we'll get this one for you. Trump speech is at 9 p.m. Hopefully on time, coincides with 6 a.m. Iran time. The Iraq war started just before 6 a.m. Just saying, element of surprise. If this guy goes, look, if the president goes on tonight and basically the end result is we see like a ground invasion, I can't imagine after a couple of up days what the market is going to do with that. Like, I think that would be probably not the best thing for the overall market. Let's just leave it at that. 3% down probably wouldn't be that crazy.
I mean, Trump might be the first man to the moon. I mean, if he takes this ASTS thing today, I mean, how's he going to do the speech and be on the moon at the same time? I know they're not going to the moon.
Well, Artemis is going to this
time?
This Artemis is going to orbit the moon.
Oh, it is today. Okay, so maybe Trump will be.
The launch is but the launch will have already happened. We'll know whether the Artemis launch is successful. So 2 hours, yeah. It takes 6:30, right?
Yeah, but how long does that take?
Oh, I don't.
Do we know? Can Trump be back for his meeting?
If he's up there.
I don't think he's going to go up there.
No, he's not going.
And I think, if they announce ground invasions, I think this market tomorrow is going to be not great, especially heading into a 3-day
limit
weekend.
Down?
No.
Well,
no. Look, war's been great for the market. When Russia went into Ukraine, market popped.
Limit down 7. I think,
not.
yeah, so 3 makes more sense to me. But anyways, thank you everybody for tuning in. Regardless of what gets said tonight, it will mean that we'll have some fun tomorrow. It's a full day of trading tomorrow. It is not a half day. It's a full day before the long weekend.
You know, I bet you Trump actually says good things.
You think it'll be good?
Yeah, I think he says we're almost out of there.
I hope so.
I think he goes opposite. I think he goes, we're not going to do troops.
I don't think I never thought it was going to be a ground invasion in the first place. I'll stick to the I don't know what he's going to talk about.
Okay, quick poll. Okay, market up or down at open. That's it. Just to see what people are thinking, because now we're thinking, let's just go, I got to delete this all. Let's just go up and go down. I'm going to hit start voting in just 1 second. Right there, up or down. So you guys, down. You guys just vote whatever you want now. And then we'll just keep this up for literally 30 seconds. Get voting immediately right now. I want to see what people that are in our chat, whether or not you're on TikTok, whether or not you're wherever you are, let me know what you think. You do now have, let's start that countdown, man. You have 30 seconds right now. I'm going to say up. So I will go into the poll right now, into the chat. You can see everybody's lighting it up right now. This is why you got to be a subscriber and have some fun like this. I'm going to go 1. Oh, and Fabian has let me know also that you can only vote once. Oh, yeah. Let's not tell people that. You can vote as many times as you want.
Just try voting as many times as you want.
To get that going. The reason why I said that is some people were saying that, So Fabian wants this. Everyone, we all want people, Neil's hitting the key like crazy because it tells YouTube that everybody's excited. But at the end of the day, someone said, well, if you can vote multiple times, and these are always going to be skewed. But
yeah, exactly.
Don't tell anybody you can only vote once. But maybe you can vote twice, Fabian. Or maybe you can vote 10 times. Vote as many times as you want. There it is. 60 seconds is over. End voting.
Close to 50-50.
All right, man.
It's close.
Your guess is apparently as good as mine. All right. Did you get a vote in there? You're hitting 2. What were you hitting? You were hitting 2.
I was hitting 1.
Oh, 1. Okay.
I hit 1 about 78 times.
Okay, good.
But apparently it only counted once.
That's what I'm saying. So it's actually working.
I know. I joke. I made up the number 78 because 78 is what down was. I probably hit it more than that.
To tie it.
Real?
No, but you said you hit ones.
I know, but I hit it. I at least typed it 100 times.
Let's see what happens at the open, man. Okay, good show. We're out of here. See everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Good luck. Watch that press conference or whatever it is, and we'll talk later.
Good luck, Artemis.
See ya.